All right, we got a special Christmas Eve episode of Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. We're going to be taking off from San Pedro Airport in Cuba and continuing on the southern coast of Cuba. And we'll be listening to the Tony Kornheiser show from this past week. Monday's episode from 2 days ago on the 22nd, Tuesday's episode on the 23rd, and today's episode on the 24th. So let's fire up the Tony Kornheiser show from Monday, December 22nd.
It's Tony. On today's show, we'll talk to Michael Wilbon about a thrilling win for his Bears, and we'll also talk to Steve Sands about the PNC Championship and that other thing they had on Golf Channel, that sort of relay race. It was pretty cool. But first, commerce.
Avoiding your unfinished home projects because you're not sure where to start?
You can give someone is the gift of mint.
Are you able to reset? Does it take you a full night and by today you're fine and you're going to have a great show, or does this linger for another day or two?
No, it's not going to linger. I mean, the show...
A couple of weeks. Yeah.
No, the show... Every show is new. And in every show there's possibility of it being great.
But you'll try and needle them at every opportunity.
Oh, absolutely. About the Indiana Bears. How the Indiana Bears doing?
Can we please get some custom jerseys for them?
Yeah, Indiana Bears.
The Tony Kornheiser show is on now.
There is no way that Wilbon will be angry today when we have him on. The Chicago Bears won at home in dramatic fashion in overtime. There's no way he's anything but ecstatic.
Gets the cheeseheads, right?
Yeah, if he yells, who he hates.
Yes.
If he yells and screams, it'll be screams of joy.
Yes.
He can't. If he's angry and starts, I can't believe he would be angry. I just cannot believe he would be angry.
The 0-5 Indiana Bears
to lose. I rooted for them to lose. But no, you know what? There's three guys out there where you say these coaches have made a remarkable difference in a first year. Mike Vrabel at New England, Ben Johnson at Chicago, and Liam Cohn at Jacksonville.
Yeah.
In first years, they have playoff teams, from rising from the dead. Honestly, I mean, you can vote for any. I would vote for Vrabel just because I think that he will have more wins than the others, and they were all in that 4-13 range. But I mean, I wouldn't argue if you voted for Ben Johnson in a harder division. I wouldn't argue if you voted for Liam Cohn because Jacksonville is awful, had been awful for a while, and Trevor Lawrence had shown nothing, and now they're a playoff team, and they went on the road. They beat Denver. That's legit.
Like, they beat them solidly.
That's legit. So, okay, let me get to, first of all, to explain where everybody is and what our schedule is this week. We're going to do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday this week.
Yes.
We're not going to do Christmas Day. We're going to observe, the solemn. Some people have a solemn nature about that, others joyful. But in any case, we're not going to ask people to come on the show on Christmas morning. We're not. So we'll do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday this week. Sean is with us today, but then leaving.
Yes.
Leaving us in the hands of Bob. Yes, Sean?
That's correct. And Bob,
okay.
Safe hands with Bob.
Okay, so safe hands.
Bob's
safe hands with Allstate. Yeah, okay, that's good. Michael is away, but he's here. He's on the show.
Yep.
Sorry. And we'll get... No, don't be sorry. You're entitled. You and your
apologizing to you.
Oh, okay. All right. But you're on the show, which is really all that matters. So I understand the beginning of winter was yesterday. I think officially something like 10:15 in the morning was the official winter solstice. And I often say that it's the best day of the year because everything gets lighter and brighter from that point on. I was corrected, so I want to show that I remember the emails. I was corrected last year and the year before that by people who explained to me that it has already begun to stay lighter longer in the afternoon. By seconds, not by minutes, not by chunks, not by hours, nothing like that. By seconds. That started before the solstice. It is not getting lighter in the morning, if I understand this correctly, for about 2 weeks. It's going to get darker still for about 2 weeks. Me personally, I'd rather have the light in the morning than in the afternoon. I'm out with the dog.
Yeah.
I'd rather have that.
Yeah, I think I'm with Michael. It feels a bit depressing that it starts to get dark at about 3 o'clock.
In the afternoon.
It's not Boston, Nigel.
Boston is the worst. Boston, you're so far east.
Yeah.
You're so far east, it's dark, and you're north and east. So yeah. All right, but I think I understand that. I hope I understand that. I don't know if I understand that. I did over the weekend. I played golf on Saturday. I played. Here's what I did on Saturday. There were no
Nothing to
carts
celebrate the
allowed.
start of winter by getting out for a brisk 12 holes.
Okay, well, it never went higher than 41 degrees on Saturday when I played, but there was no wind.
Yeah.
41 is, for me, tolerable. And, with no wind, I was dressed. I didn't even have a second coat on. I just had the sweater and the 2 layers underneath that. And I played because there were no carts allowed, and I can't walk the whole course. I played what is called the Inner Nine, where just at Columbia, numbers 1, 2, 3, numbers 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18 have a cart path. The others do not. There is no cart path. So you can go on the cart path, and then you leave your cart on the path, and you walk to your ball. I walked more on those 9 holes than I would have if I walked 18, right, Michael? Because I'm constantly going back and forth.
Yes, all golfers know how much walking you have to do for golf cart only.
Cart path only.
Yeah, cart
path only. It's, but I played 1, 2, 3. I played 4. I walked 4. It's a par 3. Then I came back to the path, and I went on 12, which is a par 5, and there's like an area that you can use as a tee, which is about 165 yards out on the right. Michael, you know what I'm talking about. Others do not, obviously. And so it becomes a par 3, and I played that, walking that. And then Steve Rose was back to play. He had played, he went out with Tachi, and he got to 12, and I waited for him, and I played in with him. And that, made me happy. I mean, it was fine to play. So he gets excited, and he says, well, we'll play tomorrow, because I'm sure we'll have carts tomorrow. And in fact, they did have carts yesterday. And I was trapped into playing because it was cold.
It was colder.
Okay, when I went out at about 10 o'clock in the morning, the wind was, I would say, brisk, not overwhelming, but brisk. And the temperature was, reasonable, like 41, 42, 43, something like that. But by the time we got to the 4th hole we played, I was freezing to death. The wind had really picked up.
Yeah.
And the temperature, though it got to 45, every time you looked at your phone, it said, feels like 28. And I was really cold. And by 14, I finished. Yeah. But I was not only terrible, I just wanted to stop. Because it was just so cold.
I'm imagining the Bernie Sanders meme. You just sitting cross-legged with the arms.
Just,
now,
I was
do you
cold.
have cart mittens?
I do not. Now, Steve Delmar yesterday and Chris Lamond told me to get this warming thing that the quarterbacks use in the NFL. You put both hands in it from side to side.
Yeah.
And Chris said it's hot. It's great. It's life-changing. Should I get that?
Yeah, definitely.
But I didn't want to have to attach it to my body. Like around my waist, like the quarterbacks do.
Oh, yes.
And Chris said you could leave it in the cart and it still works. Yes?
Yes. There's like
Should
that warmer muff. Yes.
Yes. Well, how much you think that costs? I have shop credit.
I think there's definitely different
100
levels.
$100?
I'm sure Mr. Delmar can put an order in for you.
Well, he's got one. He had one in the shop. He handed it to me, and I turned away. I wasn't sure.
You weren't ready yet.
I wasn't ready yet. I should get it, yes?
Yeah, don't ask no questions. Have it waiting for you in your locker next time you go to the club.
Okay. Well, that'll be tomorrow. That'll be tomorrow. Yeah, okay. Yeah, because it's closed today.
Question for you about playing by yourself. When you finally joined up with Steve, did this disrupt your counting? Because I'm sure you had some complicated pattern in your head.
Yeah, I was playing 3 and 4 balls at a time. Not on first shots, on second shots, third shots, playing 3 and 4 balls. I was having a lovely time. I was out there by myself having why I was out there by myself? Because nobody else was out there. So there's like 7 people on the entire course by the time I was, halfway through what I was going to do. And it was lovely.
I was with you in spirit as I was tackling I-95 South for approximately 10 hours.
I know. But it was
Construction
great fun.
in the lower part of North Carolina.
That's no good.
It's always fun.
It's no good.
Can I ask a question, particularly after the round on Sunday?
Yesterday, yes.
Did you get a club sandwich?
I did not. Oh, I was so cold. I was so cold. I got a cup of coffee.
You needed soup.
And I went home. And I know I was really cold.
No triumphant sounds.
I was really cold. No, it was, and I had dinner on Friday night with Jimmy Crilly and his wife, with John Sturm and his wife, and Charlie Tate and his wife. Charlie listens, so he's going to be so excited now that I mentioned his name. I saw him yesterday, too. So excited. It makes me happy. You find out people listen. It makes you happy. Then you find out people listen in, like, I don't know, Australia. And you go, why? Why? Why would this be? All right, let me get to the college football. I'm sure Wilbon and I will talk about this on PTI. I know his feelings about this. Mike's feelings are to be inclusive and to have group of 5 teams in there. And he says, look, you have 64 teams in the basketball tournament, and, they're 16 seeds, and when they play a 1, most of the time they lose. Almost always they lose. And my position is different than that. There's only 12 teams in this. There's not 25. There's not 30. There's only, even when they go to 16, there's only 16 in this. 16 out of about 80 or 90. It's only 16. It's not like 64 out of 300. The math is a little bit different, but I don't think this should be a charity event. I think if you watch James Madison, who covered, by the way, and you watch Tulane, who did not cover, by the way, Carville won on one of those, Jeff Ma won on one of those. If you watch this, I think Chuck took both teams to cover, so he split. They were not games. Oregon was up like 3 touchdowns in 6 minutes.
Yeah. So,
really, Ole Miss was up 18 point early. No. So it's not charity. But if you put Notre Dame and Texas in that tournament, Notre Dame, if you watched the awful Miami A&M game, which was awful until the last 3 minutes when it was the most exciting game of all time, but if you watch the first 57 minutes, you said, what are they doing in the playoffs? And if you're Notre Dame, you think, we could beat both of them. Now, they beat us in August by 1 point and 3, but we could beat them. And so I think if Notre Dame and Texas were in this tournament, you would have the representation of, the best 12 teams in the country, or something close. And I don't think with James Madison and Tulane you have that. So philosophically, Wilbon and I disagree. I am less inclusive. He is more inclusive. I want the purity of the best teams in there. Michael, thoughts? Sean, thoughts?
I would just say you're at this transition period where you're still moving away from the old bowl model, and you will eventually get to this larger field. So while you're in this in-between, I would agree with you to have a more inclusive, I agree with Wilbon, rather, to have a more inclusive field. We're not quite at that basketball field yet, but I still think you're getting enough representation and you have enough time to show you're worthy of getting in, except for this one example we have this year, really.
Yeah, by the way, both in the actual games between actual good teams, both road teams won. That did not happen last year.
That's right.
The road teams were 0-4. The road teams are now 2-0. Alabama was a road team. Miami was a road team. And I'm not knocking Miami because I always said Notre Dame should be in ahead of them. They're a good team. Yeah. A&M is a good team. Although A&M has 2 losses in a row now, to Texas and to Miami.
Yeah,
it's a bad way to end.
Bad way to end what was a terrific season.
Bad way to end. And Lane Kiffin, nobody hates him now. Yeah. I mean, everybody still hates him, but nobody hates him like they really would have hated him had Ole Miss lost in that particular game. All right. So we will have Wilbon today. We'll have Steve Sands if he's not circling. If he's not circling, if he's landed, we will have Steve Sands. But Wilbon, when we return, I'm Tony Kornheiser.
I'm Brett Podolsky, co-founder of The Farmer's Dog. We make fresh turnaround. A million of these.
This is sent to us by Functional Poly. And they say, hello, Dr. Kornheiser. Happy holidays to everyone on the show. We're hoping you play a couple of songs off our new holiday album, Functional Holly. We love singing our harmonies together on fun holiday songs. It's Cammie, Clint, and Carissa. Functional Poly. And this is familiar to everyone. This is God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen, We Three Kings. And so we're doing Christmas music probably all week. Yeah. If we have it, we'll do it.
I think we do.
And they play in Michael Wilbon. And I'm just For all the people that write in and say, God, Wilbon was angry today on the show. God, what is with Wilbon? Why is he calling everybody stupid? Why is everybody a young dope? Why is he so mad? This is the other side today of Michael Ray Wilbon. You had one of the greatest experiences of your life on Saturday night, didn't you?
Yeah, Tony, I'm still hungover from Saturday night, and as you know, I don't drink a drop of anything. That's how great Saturday night was in Chicago. If you root for the Chicago Bears, and there are millions there who do. I was at the game. It was, people expected it to be raucous to start because it was a 7:30 game. It's Christmas week. The Bears are already playing well. People expected it to be raucous. Instead, I thought it was pensive.
Really?
Because I think that, yeah. Because everybody knew it was a stake. The loser of that game, and particularly if the Bears is likely to not go to the playoffs at all. So you go from being in the catbird seat to winning the division to maybe not making the playoffs. And given the season the Bears have had, it seems not possible they wouldn't make the playoffs. But that's what existed right through yesterday's crazy game between Pittsburgh and Detroit. Because the Bears have a game at San Francisco Saturday night now, another Sunday night, prime time extravaganza, and then finish up with Detroit, which is hanging on to his playoff life.
Can I just, I'm going to interrupt for a second. We'll get right back to this. If you watch the replay of that play where they called offensive interference, it's totally offensive. He pushes him and turns around. What? Right?
2 hands.
Yes.
2 hands. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it.
Come on.
And Detroit runs the pick plays more than anybody else.
And they
the
get
play
slammed
where they
into people.
negated the touchdown. Dude, you got a guy. It's so funny. I think it was Tom Brady's description. Maybe it was before him. I don't want to give credit because it was such a great line. And it talked about that 6'7", 320-pound tight end that the Steelers have, and whether it was Troy or Tom, one of them said it's like throwing a screen pass to Shaq.
Yeah, it's enormous.
And who you gonna get? And so if that guy is involved in a pick play, and you want to bitch and moan, the hell with the Lions. I don't want to hear it. Well, I know we'll get that.
Look, I think, and you know that I think this, I think the Lions are the most disappointing team in the league this year because I think they're really good. I do. I still think they're really good. But Amon-Ra St. Brown, that's a clear, you have to call it.
Pass interference.
You just have to call it. This is not hand fighting. This is not hand fighting.
No.
Okay, so go back to the Bears. Where did you sit? Who were you with?
My friend Jim Reynolds, Luke Capo, Southsider, and my peer group, and we've known each other forever and ever and ever. Jim has a suite that is on something called the 50-yard line.
Oh, okay.
And she's in Soldier Field, and if you were invited to go there, it's magical. Even when the Bears are bad, it's a rollicking good time. And the people that he is tight with, and I have become friends with over the years, because these guys live there, include Richard Dent and Otis Wilson, and some of the most famous Bears players ever, and they are there watching the game. And I watch games with them. You know that because I've told you that over the years. And Tom Waffle stopped by, and it's great because you're watching with people who have skin in the game who never let down. They never let down. They took the jersey off. In the case of the first two guys I mentioned, they won a championship. Richard Dent, I still think, may be the only guy who is exclusively a defensive player who won Super Bowl MVP. Is there more than Richard? I don't think there is.
I think there was a safety. I think a Dallas safety won one once.
Okay. So maybe Woodson won. So anyway, we're all watching this thing and it's nervous because we got to win this game. And the way the game unfolds, it's just not possible to win a game. And they can't score. They can't do anything. We're unhappy with play calls. We're unhappy with Caleb. We're unhappy with the run defense. We're unhappy with everything. They can't win except Green Bay only has field goals. And you get this situation, I'm not going to go to the fourth quarter TikTok, but it was impossible to win that game, and they won that game. And I said, we just sat there, Tony, no one left. No one left the building. At one point, I literally looked at the aisle to see no one left. Every seat was full. It was the Packers. And all day long, people walked around Michigan Avenue doing their Christmas shopping, wearing their Bears stuff or their Packers stuff. Remember, we're talking, this is different even than Philadelphia, Washington, or New York, Washington. We're talking about two fan bases that are the same people. They live in the same, they occupy the same space. And so that is unique with that rivalry too. But that game, when it was over, I didn't move. I didn't go anywhere for 45 minutes. I just sat in my seat. And I said to Jim, and Jim is like me, he's got a sweet as Bulls games. We go to everything. We follow everything. At times you said to me, when one of them's going well, what's bigger? You know, the Bulls, the Bears, you know, the Cubs. I can't ever choose because we follow everything. This was somehow different. This was the only thing, you'd have to have Jordan in the mix for it to be bigger than what happened Saturday night. The only things I've ever been to in Chicago that were bigger than that game, that win, that circumstance, that joy, it involved 23. So,
yeah,
so
well, I mean, the 23, he can win championships in Chicago. Yeah. You cannot win a championship in football in Chicago. Not the Super Bowl. It's not going to be in Chicago.
Right.
So that's
Chicago
different.
And we've won. Yes. We've played in those that I've been there. We've won 2 of them, and it wasn't like this. It wasn't like this.
Did you meet the mayor? Did you see the owners?
The mayor. I know the mayor.
You know
the mayor. Mayor Johnson was there. The Secretary of State was in the box.
His Holiness?
Was the Pope there?
What's that?
Was the Pope there?
The Pope would have been there. The Pope probably wishes he was there.
That's right.
There's a great, I'm sure it's AI. I'm sure everything's AI. There's a great, like, it would be a poster in the old days. And it shows the Pope in this picture with Caleb and Ben Johnson, and they're in Blues Brothers stuff, and the Pope is dressed like this. It's so great that I want it to be real. And
it's not real. It's not real.
The Pope is a Bears fan, and we know that. But yeah, it was just short. He was the only person not in attendance on Saturday.
So now, you're not number 1 in the NFC at the moment. The Seahawks are. I don't know if the Rams are ahead of you. I don't know how it works. Are you?
I think so. The Rams can't be ahead of us because we're division leader in the Rams.
Are you going to win the division? Is there any way you don't win the division now?
There is a way. It's so convoluted. I've read about it. I mean, this is 2 nights with no sleep. Saturday night, there's no sleep because, a lot of people were on flights going where they're going for holidays. I flew to Arizona. The whole Arizona plane was like a charter.
Yeah,
people just came straight from Soldier Field in their stuff. Or the Cheeseheads. Just because we all live in the same place. Second home, winter home. It's not Florida for us, it's Arizona. And people are on the plane singing Bear Down. I mean, it's just like, what? So everybody doesn't know the permutations, even though people are studying them and they think they know. But we got San Francisco and Detroit to end the season.
Detroit's done.
San Francisco.
Detroit's done. They're done.
They're not, well, it looks like it because they lost that game to Pittsburgh, and I thought there was no way they were going to lose that game.
Me too. I agree. I never thought they'd lose that game.
I thought Detroit was going to win that game. They are done. They've been undone largely by injuries, but I know at the beginning you scoffed when I said there was brain drain.
No, you know what? I thought about that yesterday. I think you may very well be right. I thought about that yesterday, that losing both coordinators, you may be right about that. What you were not right about is your fear that the Bears would go 0-5.
That's right. That's right.
The Bears are good. And this brings up this question, and I led the show with this. There are 3 completely legitimate candidates for Coach of the Year, that if you voted for any one of these 3, you don't have to defend the vote. One is Ben Johnson, one is Liam Cohn, and one is Mike Vrabel. I assume you would vote for Ben Johnson because of your ties with the Bears. I think I would vote for Vrabel because it's the largest turnaround in terms of wins. But what Jacksonville did yesterday was the most impressive thing in the day, wasn't it?
Winning at Denver, I thought was the most impressive win.
Yes, yes.
In terms of the opponent, although I know that the Bears were at home beating Green Bay. And a lot of people right through last week had Green Bay winning not only that game, but being the
Well, it hurts them that their quarterback got hurt. I mean,
well,
come
it
on.
does.
That hurts.
It does. And that there was some gallows humor over that in the box. I won't relate to you, but it was laugh out loud stuff. You don't want to laugh at somebody getting a concussion, but it's a cheesehead. Come on. And I will repeat this because Richard Dent is so funny. And when you're Richard Dent, again, when you wear a gold jacket and a Super Bowl MVP ring, and you're a defensive player, you can say anything you want. And, first of all, don't tell me the hit was dirty. I don't want to hear it. A 6'5" guy, which is what Jordan Love is, he lowers his head into another 6'5" guy. That's why they wear helmets.
Yeah.
And he goes down, Jordan Love goes down, and we don't know in real time. Then just screams out, hey, just put a cape on him. He's cold. Get him up.
Yeah,
and
you figured he'd play. You figured he'd go right back out.
I figured he'd come back.
But this is...
And it was a concussion, and nobody wants to see that.
This is happening all over. I think Jackson Dart got one yesterday, too.
Dart gets one every week, and that's why you have to seriously consider drafting Mendoza if you are the Giants, and you pick one. And the Giants and the Raiders played each other this week for the number one pick for the loser. But you mentioned the coaches of the year. Yeah. I'm not going to argue against one of those three guys.
No, you can't.
And by the way, you said that New England had the biggest turnaround. The Bears lost 10 in a row last year.
What was their record?
They won one game more than New England. They won 5. New England won 4.
Right. And what is New England? And now, what are their records right now?
11. The Patriots won last night, so they've got one.
They got one more.
Or no?
They got one. That's what I'm saying.
They're
they got
12 and 3. Right. The Patriots
they got one more.
But
the opposite way you argue that is you say Chicago's in a much tougher division.
And conference. The NFC is definitely much more impressive, as it turns out, this year. And so that would be, if you want to make that argument, you can make it for Jacksonville. It's wow. And by the way, how about San Francisco? Suppose they wind up with the number 1 seed.
It's some convoluted way they can have that as well. I will say it's the best NFL season that I remember in a long time. And that's because Kansas City is not dominating.
Yeah.
That's why. It's better.
Well, you don't need... I'm going to say it's the only sport where you don't need the champion. There are enough important fan bases, and there are enough teams with history, and by history, I mean 100 years, so it's not Major League Baseball history, but it's second to that you don't have to have the reigning champ if you've got the other mix of franchises.
The best thing is that every week the team you think that's really good loses. Every week. This week, the Rams and Denver lost.
So give me your top 5 right now.
I still think the Rams are the best team in football. I think it'll be the Rams and Buffalo in the Super Bowl, but I don't know. I would have said Denver, but Jacksonville beat them soundly, Mike. Soundly on the road.
But you're not going to win every game.
Nope.
And they won 10 in a row. Denver had won, right?
They had won 11 in a row.
Yeah.
Okay.
And now Jacksonville's won 6, 7 in a row.
You can't win every game. I mean, Jacksonville's won. So at what point we can start talking about peaking too soon? Has Jacksonville done that?
Who knows? I didn't think they were any good.
Do that?
I didn't think Jacksonville was any good at all. And this guy has totally turned them.
We go back to the Joe Gibbs phrase, and I'm sure Joe's not the only coach who subscribed to it. You win first,
and then you get
good. Yeah. And I think that Jacksonville and the Bears have sort of taken that route.
It's probably
now
true.
They don't fear playing anybody now, and I don't know if it was that way 8 weeks ago.
All right, we'll talk later. I'll talk to you later.
Let me tell you who I don't want to hear about anymore. I don't want to hear about the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, they're done. They're done.
Want to hear about them.
Yeah, they're absolutely done. All right, I'll talk to you later. Michael Wilburn, boys and girls.
I couldn't find the meme he was talking about, but I did find this.
Oh, picture of the Pope in a Bears hat and Bears regalia.
Raymond,
wow. Yes. Yeah, it's fabulous. All right, Steve Sands, when we return, I'm Tony Kornheiser.
That's the sound of extremely processed dog food, which is the norm at most pet food companies. But at the Farmer's Dog, we do things differently. We gently cook our food without ultra-processing.
It's to BP this season. Their last minute.
To send it leaves so green. Once again, this is Functional Polly from their album Functional Holly. A bunch of Christmas songs. It's very, very nice. Michael, if people like Functional Polly want to send in their original music that we can play, how do they do it?
Send us your music by emailing it to jingles@TonyKornizersShow.com.
And they play in Steve Sands. And right before we went on the air, Steve said he was in Colorado, in Vail, and I said, do you ski? And tell the people what you said.
Well, I went to Colorado State University. I'm born and raised in D.C., so I can't imagine anybody from the East Coast goes to school in the mountains, in the Rocky Mountains, and doesn't ski, but, whatever. We digress. I flew here last night, drove up from Denver after the PNC Championship, and got here late last night, and we're all here for Christmas. It's great.
I've never skied in my life. I've never skied. No. What kind of skiing do you do? Do you do that fast stuff? Do you go real fast?
Well, I'm going to be 57 years old here in a couple of months. I don't go quite as fast as I used to.
Right.
Don't do the bumps quite as much as I used to. But our three sons love it. Val Sands loves it, and it's something we do every year. And it's just a lot of fun to get together. It gets more challenging as the years go on, for sure. But it's my favorite week of the year, for sure.
Oh, that's great. That's great. All right, I'm just
imagining Steve still has like a neon ski suit from his college days.
No, you know what's funny about that? In my college days, we would wear jeans and shirts and stuff like that. We don't do any of that stuff. But our boys and Val all have all that kind of fancy stuff, and they beg me every year to buy stuff, and I'm like, I'm just not into that kind of thing. But it's a lot of fun. And one time this week, it's the only time I ever do this, ever. I am not a jersey wearer. I'm not one of these guys. But the boys, ever since they were little, now they're in their 20s, the boys, ever since they were little, always wanted to one day, if it's warm enough and not have to wear a big jacket, to wear a Skins jersey or a Caps jersey or something like that. So one time this week, we will throw on an Art Month jersey or a Caps sweater or something like that.
Lovely.
A Langley jersey.
It's lovely. That's great.
Love Rod Langley, number 5.
Oh, yeah.
I knew him. I liked him.
He was great.
I thought actually, this is getting really deep in the weeds on Caps trivia, because it's not like they won with him. They didn't win. But I thought when the Washington Capitals got him, it was similar to when the Washington Nationals later got Jason Worth.
Oh, yeah.
That it gave that franchise an identity and a reason for people to want to go and play there. Do you agree with that?
Getting Langley was a huge credibility play for the Caps.
That's what I thought. That's way before Alexander Ovechkin, but you have to know the history of the team. All right, so let me get to this. Before we get to the father-child thing, which I watched last night, and back and forth, and the Matt Kuchar stuff, which you can explain. But what about the thing on the Golf Channel that we talked about on PTI, that relay? What exactly was that, and what did you think of that entire sort of, Pro Bowl experience for golfers?
I meant to text you after I saw you guys talking about it on PTI, because I thought it was so cool that you guys were talking about it on PTI. But I just kind of put my phone down after a day after studying. So I never studied that hard in my life to figure out the rules and the regulations for that night. It was a lot of fun. For the people who are listening who are old enough to remember like Battle of the Stars.
Yeah.
To see Darryl Green run a 100-yard dash without pads. And see how fast he is, that kind of thing. And what the Golf Channel wanted to do more than anything, Tony, was, this time of year when there are no, PGA Tour tournaments, there's a Skins game and they have matches and there's these kinds of things. I think what our executives decided to do was let's put together something that's different from regular golf but has the best players in it doing skills. And, they're going to tweak it as it goes on. It was the first time they ever did it. It was a rousing success. People really loved it. Golf fans, even the most hardened golf fans in the world who don't want anything other than just regular golf, enjoyed it. The guys, more importantly, enjoyed it very much. And the best part was that relay you talked about, watching watching a drive and then watching the second player on the team. It was teams of 4. Second team's player running into the fairway or the rough with clubs, dropping clubs, standing there, hitting a second shot. Then the third player on the green with the fourth player on the green, running, throwing clubs, jumping in bunkers, hitting chips and pitches, hitting putts while still moving, not the ball, but the player. And the guys really were into it. It was a lot of fun, and it worked out well. And it's different than regular golf. And in December, why not give it a shot? So the audience liked it, and the players liked it.
I loved watching it. Wilbon, of course, hated it, but that's just Wilbon. But yesterday, when I was out on the course, I said to the people I was playing with who had not seen it, so I said, so this is what happens. They're trying to finish a hole as quickly as possible. It's a legitimate par 4, and how long do you think it would take? And so they would say things like 8 minutes or 10 minutes. I said, no, remember now, they're not all walking the course. They're stationed out in the middle of the course, stationed on the green to as quickly as possible get to the ball and advance it. And they said, oh, okay, maybe 4 minutes or 5 minutes. And I said, how about 28 seconds? 28 seconds. I mean, Steve, you never, if before this happened, you would never have predicted 28 seconds, would you?
No, it really was spectacular. Like, you know, I talk about my wife all the time, but Val doesn't watch a lot of that kind of stuff, doesn't watch a lot of golf. She's a sports fan, doesn't watch a lot of golf. She thought it was awesome. My sister, Michelle, who never watches golf, watched it and thought it was awesome. The people just, look, what you want to do, and you know this, Tony, as you famously say, it's a TV show.
It's a TV show.
What you want, it's entertainment, man. What you want to do is not offend your core audience to allow them to continue to watch the best players on the planet, but also bring in new people to the sport who might not ever want to watch a regular tournament. And that's what the night was all about. And I'll tell you something interesting. We did a rehearsal. It was the first time ever doing it, and the production was outrageous, man. The people behind the scenes, Tony, putting this together, you cannot imagine how much production was put into this thing. So we did a rehearsal on Monday night, then Monday afternoon, then did another rehearsal Tuesday, and then Tuesday night, and we did that with 8 players, 4 players on each side. We got, PGA Tour players, you've never heard of, some of the retired players, some guys who live down in the area, some guys who can really, really, really play. A couple of Corn Ferry Tour guys, those kind of guys. They were doing it in like 48, 54, 58 seconds, that kind of stuff. When the big boys showed up on Wednesday, I mean, my goodness, they did it in 28 seconds, 32 seconds, 37 seconds. It was absolutely incredible to watch.
I loved it. Where was that? Where was that held?
Trump International in Jupiter. It's right next to the Bears Club, right off Donald Ross.
Right. So they had the lighting, because you could see with the lighting. I mean, here's what I would have done in a skills competition, and I don't know what else was on, what else you broadcast. I just saw that one clip. I didn't know it was on. But I would have players with like irons in their hand, and I would tell them they have to break plates like they do in hockey. From 50 yards or something like that, if anybody can do that. I mean, I would do a lot of those. I just thought it was fun, and it just seemed, I never expected in my life they'd be out in the middle of the fairway waiting for the ball to land and running to it.
Do you remember? It really was a fun night. And look, I am a old guy, and I'm an old school guy, and I am not someone who likes those kinds of events. And I was hosting. I was doing the play-by-play for it, and it was way more fun than I thought it was going to be. Yeah, and I think we were all wondering what it was going to be like. Nobody knew what it was going to be like, and when it played out, we were all like, it's. Do you remember the series Big Break from 10 to 15 years ago on the Golf Channel?
Yes.
The signature event in the Big Break, I think, will be involved next year, was when not breaking plates, but breaking the glass. And they would put a square glass out about 50 yards.
Yeah, you got to hit it.
Try to, got to hit it. And I'm talking like 5 feet in the air. I'm not talking about, 50 feet in the air. And just kind of go yard by yard. I think that'll be implemented next year. This year there was that flop wall from the Big Break, which was very cool, trying to see them hit trick shots over the wall. If you think of the Big Break, and the old ADT Skills Challenge. It was a combination of those two. They just wanted to stay away from regular 18-hole golf with a big purse at the end. They wanted to do skills and let these guys show off and mic them up and show off their personality. And here's another thing, Tony. They had things in there. They had earpieces where they could hear programs, so they could hear us. So they could go back and forth with Keith Mitchell. They were giving me a lot of crap about how bad of a golfer I am. Smiley Kaufman, Brad Faxon, Johnson Wagner was there as well. So the interaction between the players, showing off their personalities, letting the fans kind of get to know these guys a little bit. It was a really good night for the sport.
The NBA Cup, which I think is nonsense. It paid all the players $530,000 who won. That's not a lot for them because they make millions, but it's a lot to get in your hand at one time. How did you get? Was there purses involved how did you get these players?
That was the other thing I thought was brilliant. Normally this time of year, the skins game, it's all about, shot money. The matches one by one, shot money. In this, they said, listen, let's just pay them, and then what's on the line is a medal. You're putting a medal around your neck. Obviously, they're professional golfers, and obviously fans know they got paid. Scotty and Rory got quite a bit of money to show up, and the other 6 guys, there were 2 teams of 4. The other 6 guys got, pretty hefty appearances as well. But the beauty of it was that it wasn't about the money. I'm not saying they didn't deserve to have it. They should get paid. They're professional golfers. They're putting on a show in prime time for 3.5 hours. But what was on the line at the end was just putting a medal around, and those guys were absolutely into it, way more into it than I thought they were going to be. It turned out to be a lot of fun. And I think next year there's going to be a lot more promotion about it. It's got one more year left at Trump and Jupiter. Yeah, because I think people weren't really sure what it was going to be like, so they were not afraid to promote it. We just didn't promote it like you would normally promote a show because nobody knew what it was going to be like. And I think now that it was a success, now they have some video, they have some audio to promote. I think next year when they have it again down at Trump, it's one more year at Trump, and then who knows?
Okay. All right.
It was fun.
How was the parent-child? And I say parent-child because it's not just father-son. I mean, Annika is in it, and Steve Stricker's daughter is in it. It's not father-son. So how was that? Did you enjoy that?
It's an awesome event, Tony. It's a lot of fun. Look, again, it's December golf. It is what it is. It's great old players, great current players, major champions, players champions. Annika in there, the greatest woman of all time, with her son Will. And 86-year-old Lee Trevino, making holing out on 13 from the bunker. He's 86 years old, Tony. 86 years old. He's out there playing like it's nothing and hitting great shots. And it's just a lot of fun to see these guys.
Good. What's coming up? When does the real tour begin again? Doesn't it begin in Hawaii soon?
It does, but it's split in half now. The Kapalua event, the Century Tournament of Champions, the beautiful Kapalua Hill golf course on Maui.
It's not working this year.
They have no water, so they had to cancel the event. So the season will start on the PGA Tour at the Sony Open in Hawaii the week of January 14th, 15th that week. So there's a little bit of a break here now between the PNC Championship, which, by the way, the Kuchars won. Matt Kuchar, very emotional at the end. His father, Peter, passed away suddenly earlier this year when he was celebrating their mom's 70th birthday out in St. Bart's or somewhere in the Caribbean. So it was a very emotional day
for
the Kuchars yesterday. That's why he was crying. If anybody was wondering why he was crying, that's why he was crying. But from yesterday until, the week of January 14th, 15th, there is no PGA Tour golf. And I can tell you there are a few people who are not upset about that.
Including the Sands family. All right, good. Enjoy yourself. Have fun skiing. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you, Steve.
All right, guys. Happy holidays to everybody.
Yeah. Steve Sands, boys and girls. We will come back with email and jingle. And let me always tell you that you can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Odyssey. If you get the show through Apple Podcasts, please leave us a review. I'm Tony Kornheiser.
This is the Tony Kornheiser Show.
Here comes Tony's mailbag. Got email, faxes, and you know. Here comes Tony's mailbag. Pizza for all of you folks.
Eric DeLong and the Slappy Boys. give us the Bethesda bagel read.
Yeah, bagel sandwiches today. More than we need. More than we asked for. We love them.
More than we need.
Yes, we got the great sandwiches.
In the absence of Michael, we don't know what to do with all this food.
I'm sure you'll find a way to enjoy it later this week.
Eat it over 4 days or something like that.
Just go to BethesdaBagels.com for the location of the DC area initiatives and pop one in, and you will be thrilled.
From Scott Gurney in East Selkirk, Manitoba, in Canada, as he writes, where we know snow. Hey, Captain Tony, it's comforting to know that Wilbon is protected from the elements in his 3 Canada Goose jackets. I hear the wind chill in the barren wastes of North Scottsdale can be brutal. From Joe Murphy, a proud ad sales weasel, formerly of Fairfield, Connecticut, Phoenix, New York, tiny upstate town, don't know it at all. Tony, a succinct definition of Wilbonism. Seldom right, but never in doubt. Yeah, okay. Alex Schwarm, Glen Ridge, New Jersey. Hearing that the Lilyhammer jacket still works, and I worked this morning as well at 26, I think, reminds me of my own version of such apparel, the Winnipeg coat. When I worked in international television, my team would disperse and go to different markets around the globe. While my boss sent my LA counterpart to conferences in Sydney and Seoul, and she would go to Cannes in October and London around Christmas time, she sent me to Winnipeg, Manitoba, for the first week in January, which puts us, Manitoba. Scott Gurney's in Manitoba, where we know snow.
Yes.
Do you know what time the sun rises in Winnipeg in January? Try 8:45. So I show up to this conference, and I get invited to an opening night dinner a few blocks away. I gathered with the group to walk to the restaurant in my new Columbia 3-in-1 jacket, waterproof shell with an insulated inner layer. I thought I was prepared. An exec at the Manitoba Film and Music Commission greeted me and said, "That's what you're wearing here?" I nodded in the affirmative, and she just said, no. Get to tonight and see me tomorrow at 8 in the morning. I survived the walk to and from dinner. It was rough. I think the high was -8 that day. And then met the Manitoba commissioner the next morning. She takes me into our breakout room off the main ballroom of the convention, where I find about 5 coat racks with about 10 Parkers apiece. She says, "What's your size?" Excuse me. I say large, and she goes over to a rack, grabs a Parker, and hands it to me. On behalf of the Manitoba Film and Music Commission, welcome to Winnipeg. I tell her I can't take this. It's too much. She says, "Trust me. You need to take it, honey. We give these things out to Americans like you like it's a welcome brochure." I graciously accepted and still have the Winnipeg coat now 9 years later. And on the few occasions I have to pull it out in suburban New Jersey, it still works. From Rob Perez in Santa Barbara, California. Catching up on the old pods, hearing you rave about the club sandwich at your golf club reminds me of the club sandwich at Eaton Canyon Golf Course in Altadena, California, where I used to work when I was in high school in the early 90s. I mostly worked there part-time after school, but on weekends, day-long shifts were available, which were always a nice boost to the paycheck. We cleaned and parked golf carts, picked the driving range balls, kept the range clean, and ball baskets stocked. Little did I know at the time that'd be the best job I'd ever have in my life. I always heard people around the course talk about the club sandwich in the restaurant, of course, and finally one Sunday afternoon I gave it a shot. The stories were true for something so simple. It's the best sandwich I'd ever had. That and a basket of fries, and every Sunday afternoon became my routine as long as I worked there. I'd completely forgotten about the club at Eaton Canyon until you started talking about your club on the show. Recently, I looked at Eaton Canyon website and the menu for the grill. No club sandwich anymore. Such a shame. A side note to the club sandwich. When we worked the closing shifts at the course, if there were any hot dogs left over in the roller in the bar, the bartender would pop in and let us know. We'd run into the bar and grab however many were left, pour a Coke, and go sit in one of the carts and feast. A great little bonus for a growing high school kid. Thanks for reminding me of a simpler time and a great sandwich that now appears to be nothing more than a footnote in history for a local 9-hole muni track. How about that?
It's lovely.
Dave Javonin, Grand Marais, Manitoba, heading out to Newfoundland tonight after 35 years of teaching middle school. Today, Friday, December 19th, will be my last. How am I sure it's time to go? Probably while helping my grade 7 students with graphing X and Y coordinates, and we're graphing the pairs together, 3 and 5, 4 and 8, 5 and 11. Not that good. I couldn't help saying that out loud. The girl in the front row looked at me with that combination of contempt and pity that only 13-year-old girls are capable of. Don't worry, I told her. You'll be old one day, too. One of the nicest gifts I got was your TK sweatshirt from my friend Scott Gurney of East Selkirk. Wow!
Yeah,
who can definitely eat it, and I knew it was a hit, and I opened it, and my wife said, "Who's that guy?" Some things are best kept private. I plan to wear it proudly as I move out to Newfoundland, where my wife has decided we will spend our retirement. She was born on Fogo Island. You really should come one day. I hope to track down Adam Benson, who has written you in the past. I asked my brother-in-law if he knew an Adam Benson in St. John's, and he told me, "David, it's Newfoundland. I know 7 Adam Bensons." I didn't think it was that hard. Can you tell him I'll wear the sweater at the St. John's Farmers Market on Saturday, December 20th? 27th. It'd be nice to meet a new little. Thanks for all the laughs and stories. Isn't that nice?
That's very
They
nice.
know each other.
Yes.
It's a show meet cute.
Drew Holler.
Yes, it is.
My mother, who lives in Lewis, told me, that's in Delaware, she told me and my father, she told me she and my father went to a Spanish wine tasting at a local liquor store. Lo and behold, the liquor store was none other than Bin 66. Yes, flying the banner in the attached picture. Yeah, the best liquor store. Oh, in America, it quotes me, Michael. It says Tony Kornheiser, the Tony Kornheiser Show. That's amazing. It's not like I get a discount.
Oh,
Now
Could you at least get the tote bag?
Wow, I have the tote bag. Now, she's no little, but thanks to my father, she's familiar with your name and face, arguing with Wilbon on ESPN for years. Knowing I'm a loyal little, she shared this beautiful tribute with me, after which I had to explain the backstory of the wine that made this the best liquor store in America, thanks to this bit of connective tissue. Oh, we are loaded with connective tissue.
Yeah, that's great.
Josh Ridgway, Richmond, Virginia. As a JMU fan on a trip to Eugene, Oregon, we were very close to Willamette Valley. I heard a group of JMU fans debating how to pronounce Willamette, at which point I pronounced, it's Willamette, damn it. I sadly met by looks of confusion instead of thanks, but was happy to let the show educate the masses. Anyway, I'd love to be the official JMU TK correspondent. It's still available. Go Dukes. Yeah, they got beat.
They did.
They got beat, but you got there.
And they covered.
They
right?
had a great, they did cover.
Yeah.
They lost by 17. They did cover. Aaron Ettinger, Waterloo, Ontario, Canada. What are we doing with all the Canadian emails?
Yeah.
The drama from the iPhone update continues. Yesterday, I played your rant to the woman to whom I'm related by common law status. She found your old man yells at cloud moment a portentous vision of me in 30 years. But being a practical woman, she ran those very same updates and went on with her day. However, deep in her unconscious, something was stirred. For last night, she had a bad dream. In this dream, she boarded the wrong airplane, and one seated couldn't check our boarding pass because the new updates had changed all the settings. Before she could figure things out, the plane took off, carrying her and her up-to-date phone into the darkness. She woke with a gasp. The lesson, update later, is not just an option on your phone. It's a pathway to good mental health, even for a philosophy of life. I have not had emails in 4 days. I get 300 emails a day. I have not had any in 4 days. I need my phone fixed. My phone is dead. Yes. You know, I am getting texts, and I am using it as a phone, but I am not getting any emails. None.
But it's not switching from portrait to landscape, so there's that.
That is a win.
I hate this phone. And I hate the fact that the iPhone people can reach into my life like this anytime they want. I don't like this at all.
It's for your own good.
No, it's not for my own. No, I just really think that there should be a law against this. From Matt Clark in Washington, D.C., as 2025 comes to a close, I'd like to take a moment and thank you and the guys for a wonderful year of entertainment, insight, and laughs. That said, I also write today with the hopes of fulfilling a Christmas wish. Am I going to not like this? On background, I was introduced to this show 10 years ago by my brother, Pat Clark, a loyal little diehard sports fan, fervent Brian Cashman apologist. Pat and I have both written to the show before.
No, I just remember what this email was.
He with an invite to my wedding at the Shoreham Hotel in 2022, and I to relay in spring training conversation that I had with Buster, to relay a conversation I had with Buster Olney regarding dairy cows and logging back in 2024, later corroborated by Buster on air.
That's right.
Pat and I grew up as the bookends of 8 children in a family in Dunmore, Pennsylvania. In a family as large as ours, you can imagine how difficult it becomes for each of us to ascertain Christmas gifts for one another. Long ago, we adopted a grab bag style operation wherein we each get a gift for the one other person. Now, Pat is a difficult guy to buy for. This Christmas season is the task at hand. As I write this letter, I'm fresh off a stop at Calvert Woodley Fine Wines and Spirits. While others in line had dreams of fine Gruyere and exquisite Parmesan for their holiday cheese boards, I was there for one reason only, to obtain branded merchandise from the vaunted La Cheeserie. Much to my delight, there were hats on display and available for purchase. I was able to find a hat that would fit Pat's head, which is sure to grow should this letter be read on the podcast, but no gift would compare to the holiday cheer that would beam from my brother if he is able to play this recording ad nauseum around the table at dinner on Christmas night, and I promise you he will do that. P.S. How fast did Wilbon ask you to start recording the pod just to talk about the Caleb Williams walk-off TV? In the early 70s, Q Magazine sold a poster with famous New York restaurant matchbooks covers. PG and I had it on our first apartment in Brooklyn. DJ. Brian Swerdloff. Seems like the new game is whose child has the better birthday date. Well, my non-masculine child's birthday is 6/6/12. How do you like them apples?
That's a pretty good number.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
John Stieglitz, I'm in baseball withdrawal and was wondering if you could settle an argument between me and my brother Dave and tell him to eat it. Who's the greatest living baseball player? We're clearly coming to you because you've seen every living baseball player's entire career. The answer to this question was easy until last year when Willie Mays died. Now it's an open question. Dave says it's Derek Jeter because the point of playing baseball is to win championships, and who is more responsible for his team's 5 rings than Jeter, and the 3,465 hits don't hurt. I vote for Michael Jack Schmidt because if you were building a team and I offered you 18 years of Gold Glove, third base, and 548 home runs, I'm pretty sure you'd take him first. My concern is you're going to say Barry Bonds. Then I'm going to have to stop listening. Sandy Koufax.
That's Sandy Koufax.
It's not even close.
The answer.
Sandy Koufax, thank you. Nathan Ackerhelm, Charlotte, North Carolina. I want to add some context to Carvel's 6 million data points algorithm. I majored in math at Haverford College. I'm currently pursuing my master's of data science at Wilbon's Northwestern. There's a concept called noisy data, which is when large data sets contain extra meaningless information, inaccuracies, or errors. I don't think Carville took this into account when he took Memphis in the Gasparilla Bowl. He got trounced on that. Now, he won other games, got trounced in that. Sam Fritz, Schaumburg, Illinois. Tony, it's sad seeing you resort to these measures after being caught buying 30 pints of Haagen-Dazs. What is this? Man charged with stealing $6,200 worth of ice cream from delivery trucks in Indiana. Oh, boy. Griffith, Indiana. Christopher Stewart was arrested stealing them.
He did it over like several weeks.
Yeah. Benji Portno in Pittsburgh. Mr. Tony, after listening to your interview with David Remnick, I called my grandmother. My grandmother is in her early 90s, and for a large part of her life, she collected New Yorker magazines. For her 80th birthday, her descendants created a 40-page mock New Yorker revolving entirely around her, titled The Altacaca. The cover of art for her, attached for those watching on News Channel 8, drawn by a granddaughter, in-depth articles about her upbringing, humorous submissions, and art by 3 generations and close family friends. When she made it to 90, the family regrouped and made a brand new second edition. So when I called her to ask if she was aware of the Netflix documentary and if she was going to watch it, her response was, I have Netflix. I just don't know how to set it up. Michael, we feel your pain. If you read this, tell my brother Joey to eat. It's very wonderful. If you're out on your bike tonight, everyone, as always, do wear white.
It's real nice having you with us for the holiday. I couldn't think of any better place to be.
If you're hearing this, it means that Nigel has flushed the mouse and forgot to have me record something new. So who knows who our guests will be today? Maybe Mick Jagger, Sandy Koufax, Dalai Lama. Long hitter the Lama. Probably not, but I guess you'll have to tune in to find out. But first, let's keep the sales weasels happy.
Guys, by avoiding your...
Wind was, I would say, brisk. Not overwhelming, but brisk. And the temperature was, reasonable, like 41, 42, 43, something like that. But by the time we got to the 4th hole we played, I was freezing to death. The wind had really picked up.
Yeah.
And the temperature, though it got to 45, every time you looked at your phone, it said, feels like 28. And I was really cold. And by 14, I finished. Yeah. But I was not only terrible, I just wanted to stop.
This is General George Washington, and you're listening to the Tony Kornheiser Show.
So, as I said, we're going to do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday this week. Sometimes I get mail from people who I haven't seen in a long time, haven't heard from in a long time. The mail comes in, and Nigel looks at it, and when we sit down to do the show in the morning, he just says sort of quizzically, do you know, and then he gives me a name, and more than half the time I know the name.
Yeah.
And I go, oh. So I got
this
one
is
for
the mailbag,
example.
right?
Yeah, I got one for
because your personal email's been deleted.
My personal email. No, I get no email. This is now the 4th day I get no email. There are thousands of emails stacked up and flying around the atmosphere somewhere.
And what's your average daily intake?
250 at least.
About pushing the
At this time of year, it's got to be more with all the holidays.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, because I delete them one by one. Every time, I am missing nuts.com. Every time that I get an email that says unsubscribe and I unsubscribe, it comes the next day anyway. I mean, they're lying to me.
That's how they know you're a real person.
Yeah, so, it doesn't really matter. And I get all these emails, and I have not had an email in 4 days. So I know something is wrong with my phone. I hate my phone.
Is it freeing in any way?
No, it's not. It causes anxiety that's awful, and I want to slam the phone down and break it into 1,000 pieces, but I still need it as a phone. I can text, I can phone, I just don't get any email. And, somebody's going to say, well, we sent you this bill, and you never paid the bill. I go, I don't get the email, and somehow I'm going to be responsible. This is how it always works. People say, well, we sent it to you.
Yeah, it's on
and
you.
I go, well, I never got it. Well, that's not our fault. Well, why is it my fault? How did it become my fault?
This is I hate the phone. Inbox zero.
I just hate the phone.
Yeah.
I hate it. I hate the fact that it's Apple, right? Or is it AT&T?
No, it's Apple.
This is an Apple phone.
Apple can reach out into my house, life, background, anything they want, and change things anytime they want. And that's lousy. That's one of the things I wake up with. And then the dog had diarrhea at 5 a.m. The dog wanted to go out. This is not a good day so far.
No, at least it's not rainy.
It is raining. It's raining and sleeting. Yes, it is. It's not raining in South Carolina. It's raining here. So anyway, let me get back to the story I was going to tell. So I get these emails every once in a while from people I haven't heard from in a long time. Some months back, I got one from Danny Gassman. Nobody knows who that is. I know who that is. He was when I first started at Newsday, and I covered high school sports. He was a player on the South Side high school basketball team. Good player, went to Hofstra. Fine player, D1 player. Danny Gassman wrote me a note. A friend of mine from college who I went to the Kentucky Derby with, Glenn Eisenstein, he wrote me a note. So, I get these every once in a while. And Nigel will say, do you know so-and-so? And often I'll say, yeah, I do. So today he says to me, do you know someone named Alan Legat? And I go, yeah, I went to camp with him. And he hands me this email and just says this, Tony, absolutely no idea if you will receive this. Recently read a letter my sister sent to me years ago regarding a Camp Kiyuma reunion. She truly enjoyed speaking with you. Difficult to believe how many years have passed. I do note we are both working. Hope you're well, Alan. It's fantastic. It's fantastic.
Yes.
He's a lawyer in San Jose.
Yeah.
He's the oldest man still working because I'm the oldest man still working. I met Alan, it's 70 years ago. Honestly, I have a sense of him as a 10, 12, 14-year-old kid. I don't have any sense of him now. But that's rare. People send these things, and every once in a while I go, wow. I don't respond because I don't have email, But it's really nice. It's nice to get that.
It's always lovely.
Okay, couple of things in sports. Monday Night Football, Brock Purdy, last guy ever drafted. In the year he was drafted, threw 5 touchdowns last night. San Francisco handily defeated Indianapolis. Phillip Rivers was great.
Yeah, it was good.
Phillip Rivers scored 27 points. You should win if you scored 27 points. 23 for 35 with 2 touchdowns. Look great.
It's pretty
One
good.
pick. Okay.
For the
He's
grandpa.
44.
Yeah.
He's 44. He's a grandfather. But they're not as good as the 49ers. 49ers, the Western Conference, the Western Division, NFC West, the NFC Conference. 12-3 for Seattle, 11-4 for San Francisco, 11-4 for the Rams. They're really good.
Yeah.
They're all going to make the playoffs. They're really good. And they're going to shut out a lot of other people from making the playoffs. So it wasn't much of a game in the sense that every time San Francisco got the ball before I went to sleep, they scored in 10 seconds. So I just said, well, what am I doing here? But, that was...
Well, River gets one score before the half, and then, of course, they make that 65-yard field goal. Or they dunk that one.
They're good. They're good.
Yes.
The Rams are good. Seattle is good. And are the Bears good? Wilbon thinks the Bears are good. Are the Packers good? They're not good without Jordan Love. I don't know what the state of his injury is. But the Detroit Lions aren't going to make the playoffs, and I thought they were really good.
Yeah.
I think they're the most disappointing team in the league because I thought they were really good, and I don't think they're going to make it. In other news, everybody knows about DK Metcalf getting 2 games. He'll appeal. It'll probably be knocked down to 1. You can't take a swing at a guy in the stands.
No.
It doesn't matter what he says. No. You walk away. You walk away. You don't involve yourself with it.
You never come out well in that.
It just doesn't look good. Doesn't look good. Here's the thing I wanted to talk about. By the way, we were knocked off ESPN yesterday by a bowl game going late, the famous Idaho Potato Bowl. We're in 6.5 hours. So we thought we were going to be on ESPN yesterday and ESPN2 today, which we will be today. But the opening line was, Wilbon says to me, we're on ESPN 1 today and ESPN 2 tomorrow. And I say something like, why would we do the show tomorrow? Or something like that. I know we were on ESPN 2 when I said that. Nobody knew at that time. We're on a lot on ESPN 2. Anyway, it's not what I wanted to talk about. What I wanted to talk about, the Chiefs are leaving Arrowhead Stadium.
Yeah.
Chiefs have been in Arrowhead since 1971. You know, in Kansas City, Missouri, the Royals Stadium is right next to the Chiefs Stadium. That's where everybody goes to see professional sports in Kansas City. And they're lovely stadiums. And yes, it's old. It's been there for, over 50 years. I think it's the third oldest stadium.
Yes.
I think that Soldier Field and Lambeau are older.
Soldier Field, 1924, Lambeau, 1957.
57? I would have thought it was older than that. Yeah. So, this is, to me, I don't understand this. I don't understand why you'd leave Arrowhead. It's not that, I understand why you'd leave Arrowhead. I've been to Arrowhead. I understand why you'd leave Arrowhead. But to go across the state line, to leave Missouri to go to Kansas, is there a Kansas City, Kansas of prominence? Yes, but Kansas City, Missouri is the bigger town. Of course, Wilbon says it'll never happen because Wilbon says it'll never be the Indiana Bears. And then Wilbon started screaming about how, the Capitals and the Wizards didn't move to Virginia. But they almost did.
Yes.
They announced they wanted to.
And the owner.
And it was villainous.
Yes.
It was villainous. And Mike seems to, I don't know, he seems to be taking the Arrowhead thing completely in stride. I don't know how people feel in Kansas City, Missouri. I don't know. But, I mean, to me, it's unthinkable. I'm not saying it's bad. I lived with this when the Jets and the Giants left New York to go to New Jersey. And it's over 50 years and it still stinks. If you're from New York, it still stinks. Is it close? Sure, it's close. And people have gotten used to it. And they even call themselves the New York Giants and the New York Jets, which, really shouldn't do. It should be the New Jersey Giants and New Jersey Jets.
Yeah.
But,
you got your Washington football team plays in Maryland.
Yeah. But it belongs to the Washington area. It's sort of different.
I guess it's true, yeah.
D.C.'s small, and a lot of things were in Maryland or in Virginia.
But it was cool when the stadium
now it's coming back.
It's coming back.
And everybody rejoices because it's coming back.
Yes.
So what do you think, Michael? What do you think of this?
I don't know enough about the regional identity of Kansas City, Missouri versus Kansas City, Kansas, and if there's any animosity or if that just does feel like it's part of the same general metropolitan area.
I guess it does. I don't know. But, always when I was a kid and I found out it was Kansas City, Missouri, that was the big one, not Kansas City, Kansas, that registered with me that I remember this for a long period of time, that it's Kansas City, Missouri, which is odd. It's odd, but everyone seems to have. That was the one that grew bigger, Kansas City, Missouri. Maybe they should have changed their name to Missouri City, Missouri, or something like that. Or use a name that hasn't, invent a name, and make that Missouri. Yeah. It's not the capital, right? That's not the capital. Missouri, the capital is Jefferson City.
Jefferson City, yeah.
Yeah, Kansas, the two biggest cities, St. Louis and Kansas City, neither is the capital, and they're on other sides of the state, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, not sure what the capital of Kansas is.
When I first heard about this, I couldn't quite figure out if this is the best possible time, just given the success the team has had over the last decade, or if it's the worst possible time. Again, you think about that lasting shot of Mahomes walking down the tunnel, and you look at all those AFC West championship flags, and you look at all the hosting that they've done, and you just want to go, no matter how old the stadium is, you can't replicate that recent history.
No, it's a great stadium. It's a great, loud stadium. Wasn't your roommate in college from Kansas City?
We went with you in one of the Monday night games there.
Yeah, so was he from Kansas City, Kansas, or Kansas City, Missouri?
Kansas City, Missouri.
Okay, and Kansas City Country Club, the Tom Watson
Club. Kansas City is in Kansas.
That's in Kansas?
Yes.
Your country's very confusing.
Yes. Oh, so that's a place where everybody has to wear high socks, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, the long socks.
Yeah, and so that's in Kansas.
Yep, Mission Hills.
Right. His name is Dean, right? Your roommate's name is Dean? Yeah, okay. So, see, I can remember some things. Not many,
That and song lyrics.
I can remember song lyrics, and I can remember to be nervous that my dog probably has to go out right now.
She's okay.
Go in the backyard. She's okay?
Yes.
All right, we will take a break. Is Chuck Todd our first guest?
Chuck Todd is our first guest.
Chuck Todd, last week, he just closed it out last night, was 6-4-1. He is over 500. He's 58, 57, and 1. Oof. Chuck Todd will pick games for us. Is he picking college games too?
He didn't indicate that he was going to college.
Wonderful. So we'll talk to him when we return. I am Tony Kornheiser.
Hey, Dan here from Heed the Call. You know how in football it's about making sure...
I hope they reach out soon. Second, here are 2 latest releases, including today's holiday release, just in time for the holiday season. A Miami Holiday is the name of this song. This is Alexa and the Old Fashions.
Yes.
Which is a very nice name for a band.
It is.
And this is called A Miami Holiday. We give this to Chuck because he's a Miami boy. And he had a good week, 6-4-1. Closed it out with San Francisco winning last night. 58, 57, and 1 overall, over 500. Congratulations.
Huge. Got it. To me, you can't really be a credible playoff picker if I can't get it with 500.
Well, you are over 500. Of course, you have 2 more weeks to go.
I know.
You don't want to fall under. You don't want to fall under. This week's picks with Chuck Todd and Reginald the Monkey are brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more. So let's start.
The only thing I'm for an over versus the under, but I'll just leave it at that. That's a lovely for show partisans on the over and under on your toilet paper.
Yeah, over and under toilet paper.
You have no idea how often I get stuff about this.
Really? Because you're an under guy. You're an under guy.
Always follow the house rules.
No. So, do you want to pick college games or no?
Are there many this week? Do you want to wait till the playoffs? Don't we have it next week?
Is it this week or next week? Are there 4 at the end of this? I don't know. I don't know when they are.
31st.
Okay, then we'll wait.
You know what? By the way, you just pointed out a little bit of a problem, and I think some of it is we have no rhythm yet on these college football
on these championships.
Right.
No.
Yeah, we don't know. Oh, so when is it now? And then after that, you're like, well, when are the next round? And then it's like a kind of 8 or 9 days. Everything is like 8 or 9 days away, approximately.
I have no sense of it. I have no sense of it whatsoever. You were 2-2. You picked. Who did you have? You had Miami, and you had
Miami,
James Madison.
I think I had
JMU.
Did I? And
yeah, you picked both teams. You picked Tulane and JMU to cover, and they didn't. One did and one didn't. Anyway, all right. So let's go to this one.
Are you guys sure you don't want to cover the game above Sports Bowl with Central Michigan and Northwestern?
We're not doing that. Northwestern? Not Wilbon's Northwestern.
Wilbon's Northwestern.
They didn't finish over
6-6. There is nothing like. Those games are fantastic when it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon on a Tuesday, and you're like, "Hey, there's football on." You're not complaining that it's Central Michigan and Northwestern at 1 o'clock on a Tuesday.
No, we get booted off ESPN for that, and we go to ESPN too, and I affirm that. I mean, live sports. I'm for that. I just think that there are so many bowl games that are nonsensical. All right, here we go. Dallas -6.5 at Washington on Christmas Day. Philadelphia posed them. I mean, come on. Philadelphia beat them badly. They don't have their number 1 quarterback. It looks bad, but it's home and it's Dallas, and Dallas is out of the playoffs as well. I don't know. You're going to give 6.5
quarterback? I think that's
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Mariota down too, so they got some other guy.
There's no more Heineke. There's no more Taylor Heineke, right? We don't have that guy.
Yeah, he's not there anymore. He's not.
We're going to, I think, long for the days of Taylor Heineke on this one. You look at
Dallas has nothing to play for. Dallas has
you look
nothing
at
to play
that Christmas Day lineup.
It's
Netflix
bad.
wants a refund.
Yeah, it's bad. They spend a lot of money on direct.
Is there a single playoff team?
I don't know. I don't think so. It's bad.
Yeah,
it's bad. It'll still outrate the NBA by 20 times.
Well, there's one playoff team, the Broncos, the late game. Yeah,
okay.
but it's against the Chiefs.
Right. Yeah, that figured to be good.
I'm going to sound like Wilbon here, but I confess I want to see the Wemby Thunder game. That'll be a watchable game on Christmas Day. I know it's regular season, but it's Wemby. I'm curious.
Yeah.
He's a lot of fun to watch. I guess you have to get Dallas here because Washington just won't score points.
Yeah, I think it's a game nobody wants to watch. I do. I think it's a game.
6.5. Oh, I just thinkiness, but yeah.
It's a Netflix game.
You'll take Dallas?
Yeah.
Okay. The Houston Texans are getting 2.5 at the Chargers. These are playoff teams in the AFC. They are this is a Saturday game. Playoff teams that have been under the radar more than the other AFC playoff teams. Texans won 7 in a row and 8 out of 9. Chargers have won 7 out of 8. They're hot teams right now. It's at the Chargers. Who you got? Get 2.5 if you take Houston.
I love this Texans defense. I have a little fly. I think they're good. I think if anybody gets to the Super Bowl that isn't Josh Allen in the AFC, I think it's these guys. I think give me Houston.
So you'll take Houston. Okay. Mm-hmm. Baltimore, which has collapsed, and we don't know if they have a quarterback, is at Green Bay, which hasn't collapsed, but we don't know if they have a quarterback.
They don't have a quarterback. Exactly.
We don't know.
Yeah.
Saturday game. Baltimore plus 2.5 at Green Bay. Baltimore, I think, technically make the playoffs. I think they can. But they have to win both, and Pittsburgh has to lose both. So.
Yeah, that was they had a bad weekend.
Yeah.
It was the worst possible outcome. Somehow Pittsburgh won, and somehow they blew that game. With 2.5. I trust LaFleur with Malik Willis in a week to sort of turn it into just an ugly game that they can essentially win by a field goal, which is what this line says. So give me the Packers.
Yep. Okay, take the Packers. Jacksonville.
And they only have to win one. They have to win one of their next two.
And they get in. That's right.
Pittsburgh did them a favor by knocking off Detroit as well.
Detroit, sure. Jacksonville at Indianapolis. Jacksonville giving now 6.5 points at Indy. Phillip Rivers has been great. It's great to see him, but Indy, they're done. They're out. It's, they have nothing to play for, and Jacksonville does. 6.5 is a lot, but not the way they're playing lately. They've won, I think, 7 in a row and 8 out of 9. They're really hot.
I think Phillip Rivers is going to get a lot of middle-aged men hurt this week.
Well, you do.
He's going to make a lot of middle-aged men.
People are going to think they can do this?
Yeah. Hey, I can do this. Come on, son. Let's go throw the ball around. I'm with you. Give me Jacksonville. Speaking of, are we supposed to buy into them? Do you buy into it, or
I'm not yet. Well, that was very impressive. Beating Denver at Denver like that was very impressive. And Liam Cohn is a Coach of the Year candidate, along with Mike Vrabel and along with Ben Johnson. And Trevor Lawrence, who was underachieving for a couple of years. Trevor Lawrence has looked great in the last. We had this stat yesterday. In the last 4 games, Trevor Lawrence has accounted for 14 touchdowns, running and passing, and no interceptions. So he's closing like a horse.
It's amazing what a good coach can do. You're so to point out, and you just pointed this out. You're like, Jacksonville looked like a franchise in mud. The Patriots were just terrible. One coach brings some discipline, and it flips the script.
Exactly. It's exactly true. Those guys. Yes. Mm-hmm. All right. Seattle at Carolina. Carolina kicked the can down the road by beating Tampa Bay. He's going to have to beat them again in Tampa Bay in the last week. Seattle is minus 7.5 at Carolina. That's a large number, but Seattle's the number 1 seed in the NFC right now. Will you give that many points?
And I think I'm thinking about it because I believe this game means nothing to Carolina, correct? Like, I don't think it matters.
That's right. No,
because
they still have to beat Tampa Bay.
No matter what, they have to beat Tampa.
Yeah.
Boy, because of that, I think you're careful how you coach, aren't you? And you're careful with which players you play and all that. Well, that's give me Seattle.
Okay, we will take Seattle. Philadelphia had a nice win over Washington, but a nice win. They're getting 1.5 at Buffalo.
If you call a brawl a nice win, we're not talking about the brawl?
Well, that was late, wasn't it? That was late in the game.
Yeah.
I don't know about this game, Philadelphia-Buffalo. I don't really have a good sense of Philadelphia-Buffalo at all. I mean, I don't know what they're...
another one.
Philadelphia's going to get in. No, right, they don't need it.
I mean, it's. I guess you're playing for a 2 seed or a 3 seed, right? That's the only thing you're playing for if you're Philly, right?
That's right. You're going to get one home game. You're going to finish ahead of the Carolina-Tampa Bay winner. I don't know. Not much to play for. Buffalo's in. Buffalo's not going to catch New England. Not much to play for. Not much to play for. What will you do?
You're right. This is a game that looks good on paper, but I guess I expect Philly to turtle up more than Buffalo. So give me Buffalo.
Okay, we will take Buffalo. And the last game is a Sunday night game. Two very good teams. Chicago's hot right now. Chicago's getting 3 at San Francisco. San Francisco is hot right now. This is Sunday night. San Francisco can be the number 1 seed if it wins its 2 remaining games. I don't think Chicago can be, but Chicago
I don't think
won.
there's a way for them to get the 1 seed.
No.
There's the 2 seed or 3.
And there is the Wilbon factor, which makes me root for San Francisco in this one, obviously. But,
can I just tell you, look, I did. My son gets mad at me. I care. The Hurricanes playoff game was more important than the Packers-Bears game. He doesn't like that I said that, but it was true.
The game was
I
brutal.
have to tell you, I was the thrill of victory in the day and the agony of that defeat. Like, 10 things had to happen for the Packers to lose that game. And
yes, impossible. As Wilbon said, impossible for Chicago to win that game, and they won the game. Yes.
Yeah. In fact, I thought Chicago made a mistake when they didn't go for 2. And they forced overtime.
Yes.
I was weirdly relieved. But give me the Niners. They're, is this the quietest 13-win team that the Niners have ever had? Like, they're an afterthought this year.
It feels that way.
They just rack up the wins. Do we think they're not good? Do we think the Mac Jones sort of mid-season replacement thing there detracts from Purdy? Although Purdy was pretty good last night.
Purdy had 5 touchdowns last night. I like San Francisco, but they have a lot of injuries. Kittle just hurt his ankle. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how good they are. I don't know how good anybody is, because every time you focus on a team, they then lose. It happened all season long. Yeah.
I mean, you're so
it's
right.
The best season in years.
12 teams this year. At one point or another, you said, "Oh, they're the team."
That's right. That's right. It's the best season the NFL has had in years. It is.
It's been fantastic.
Yeah, because Kansas City is not dominating. It's the best season.
Look at it. Look at the 2-7 seeds right now. Right? Aren't they the Packers and who's the 7th seed in the AFC? Is it
probably the Chargers?
The Texans or Chargers?
The Texans. It'd be the Texans. Yeah. Because they're 10-5. Texans.
Both of them, if they were in the Super Bowl, would it totally shock you? Right?
No.
The not seeds are
not
good
this
enough
year.
To win, is the point. Yeah.
Not this year, because there's no real dominant team. There's none. So all right, good luck with this.
The committee, do they put the Chiefs in? How does that work? Is they going to the college football playoff?
They're going to caucus, and they're going to say that even though the Chiefs lost twice to one team, we're going to put the Chiefs in.
Yeah.
Because we like to sit around with them.
Yeah.
All right. So next week you'll pick college games. Next week.
Next week.
All
but
right.
I do like Northwestern over Central Michigan, if you care. But anyway, I'm just kidding.
We're going the other way on that. We're taking the Chippewas here. All right. Talk to Chuck Todd, boys and girls. And if we just gave you Chuck Todd, that would be enough. But we give you a monkey.
See the monkey, he's scratching, watching his iPad, smoking and laughing, hanging with Bud Grant, tapping on his purple attache. Nigel's going to
sing along, everybody.
Zoo. Reginald's got the bikes. Sometimes he grows blue. And he's had too much Johnny Walker Blue.
All right. What do you got?
Another tough week for the monkey.
Yeah, 1-2, 17-31. It's a lost season.
It is.
It's a lost season.
You know. So I went down to the National Zoo. I was expecting him to be morose, but he wasn't. He was. It was the middle of the annual winter bowl charity that he throws. Yeah. So there was lots of people. Everybody was dressed in black ties and gowns.
Oh, nice.
It was very, very lovely.
Nice.
Some of and you know what this is charity for, of course. This is the big project he does every year to help repatriate monkeys to the native homeland of Monaco.
Yes,
So
Monaco.
It's a big
yes,
it's a
Monaco,
big thing
because
for
he
him.
liked to live in Monaco. Who wouldn't like to live in Monaco?
Right. And the cavalcade of celebrities that were there. I know you're always interested in who he was hanging out with. Helen Hunt was there. Butch Weiniger also. And Snooki from Jersey Shore.
Snooki.
Yeah.
That show was awful.
It was terrible.
That show was
a plague
awful.
upon humanity.
It
Yes.
really was awful.
GTL.
And Jim Tan Laundry, exactly. And you'll be happy to know the Vogues were performing as the entertainment. So
Yeah, it's 5 o'clock world for the Vogues.
Exactly.
5 o'clock world.
So-
when the whistle blows, no one owns a piece of my mind. And there's a long-haired girl who waits for me to ease my troubled mind. Yeah, I know. I can't help myself. So what are the games?
With first match we gave him was Dallas giving 6.5 of the Washington football team.
He took Washington last week.
He did.
Down. Went down on him.
He showed me an old photograph of him on the set of Dallas alongside Larry Hagman. Apparently he was a frequent guest star on that television program. Tells me he will take the Cowboys and lay the points.
Okay. Chuck took the Cowboys too.
The next match we gave him was the Chargers at home giving 2.5 to the Texans. And this was, again, a very old picture he showed me in the newspaper of him racing stock cars with Dan Fouts, Charlie Joyner, and LaDainian Tomlinson.
So he will take the Chargers.
Tells me he's going to take the
home
Chargers.
team, even though it's not a big home field advantage.
It's not, it
very
really
few
isn't.
people go.
Yeah, but he likes the Chargers, so.
And I shouldn't say very few people go. They're just not loud.
Yeah, it's not. It's not a
They're not.
boisterous
They're not
crowd.
for the Rams. It's the other team.
It's Los Angeles. It's how they.
you know.
And the last match he gave was the Eagles getting 1.5 at the Bills, and this is a lovely picture he showed me of him at a flapjack eating contest with Steve Carlton, Allen Iverson, and Bake McBride.
So he will go Philadelphia.
Yes, and take the 1.5.
That's wonderful. This week's picks with Chuck Todd and Reginald the Monkey have been brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more. We will come back with Chuck Culpepper. It's an all Chuck day on this show. Chuck Culpepper will talk about college football in the playoffs. When we return, I'm Tony Kornheiser.
You're listening to the Tony Kornheiser Show.
Once again, we're going to play the music of Alexa and the Old Fashions. This is a song called This Is It. You can listen to this in its entirety after we're done yapping. Michael, if independent artists like Alexa and the Old Fashions want to send in their music, how do they do it?
Send us your music by emailing it to jingles@TonyKornheiserShow.com.
And it plays in Chuck Culpepper, who has been following all the college football that has been going on. I have a million questions here. And I'm going to start with Alabama and Miami winning on the road in the first round this year. Last year, the road teams were 0-4. This year, they were 2-2, but the two most watched and anticipated games without the group of 5 teams in them, those 2 times, Alabama won on the road and Miami won on the road. Do you have an explanation for that? Is this meaningful or is it not, or don't we know yet?
I think we don't know yet. I think it's meaningful only in the sense that it interrupted, that little mini trend of the first year. But it's also meaningful in the sense that Oklahoma and Texas A&M, the places that they won, are places that are, notoriously really hard to win. And I was in Oklahoma for that game, and just the amount of energy that was in town Friday afternoon, that game was Friday night, the amount of energy was there. I don't know if in their 100 and odd years of football, if they had ever had anything that was quite like that. So the idea that Alabama would come in there, fall behind 17-0, and
17
then win the
to
game,
nothing. Yes,
is something.
Yeah, I mean that was. It was so surprising that they went down by that amount, and so surprising the way they came back. I think they, a punt got blocked or missed, and then it was a pick 6, and suddenly at the half the game was tied, and I just, the other ongoing thing is Kalen DeBoer and how difficult it is to coach at Alabama if you don't win every single game by 50 points. So this is the overall question. Michigan does not have a coach. Everybody seems to think that Kalen DeBoer would be a good fit at Michigan. Is there any way you can see Alabama, even if they win the national championship, Kalen DeBoer would leave and go to Michigan? Because Michigan doesn't have anybody yet.
I think he's a tremendous coach, and maybe even you would say great. I think he's the kind of coach that sort of goes to a place, and in the most recent case it was Washington, and and suddenly everything is efficient and everything is, everything is running on time, so to speak. I cannot see that reality at all, especially after the win at Oklahoma. I'd be stunned if that happened. Would it be a good pick for Michigan? I think yes. But would he do it? I just think that's the kind of thing that sticks with you for the remainder of your career, really. That you sort of made that leap after a big, crescendo at Alabama. And so, we could always say Nick Saban kind of did the same thing in 2007 when he suddenly turned around and left the Dolphins for Alabama, and that he won so much at Alabama that it deluged, that whole story. We all kind of forgot about it after a while. But this one, I just think, would be shocking to me.
Yeah, but it'd be such a great story. That's why I bring it up. I mean, if in fact he wanted to go because he felt more at home, in the Midwest of America than in the South of America, and especially if he won a title and he walked, and nobody could blame him. Anyway, it's just, it would make a great story.
Yeah.
Let me get to the Miami A&M game. That game was brutal. That was torture. Now, for 57 minutes, that game was so bad without any offense whatsoever. It had a great close. I don't know if anybody was awake anymore, but what were your thoughts about that game?
Well, I confess that this would rank among my several oddities about myself, but I love games like that. I love when nobody's scoring. Remember Super Bowl 53, the Rams and the Patriots in Atlanta? And it was 3-3 after three quarters.
The 13-3 game or something like that.
13-3 game, that's right. It's still the lowest scoring one, probably always will be. And I just love sitting there thinking about what's going on in the film room. And, of course, that day in Atlanta, my colleague Adam Kilgore did a brilliant job of explaining what the Patriots had figured out about the Rams and so on. But with Miami and Texas A&M, I was thinking the same thing. What have they found out about each other? And, of course, they're not going to tell you. But what is it that has enabled both sides, and factoring in Miami's missed field goals, so they did move the ball some.
3. Yeah.
But it's enabled both sides to sort of just shut off the other like this. And I love watching it to see sort of where it will go, and I realize that places me among probably few.
Well, yeah, I mean, I watched it. I watched it sitting there saying, if I played for Notre Dame, I would say, I'll beat them both today. This is the reason I'm not in. We lost to them. We lost in August by a total of 4 points, and we would beat them today, both teams on the field. Right? Notre Dame's got to feel that way, don't you think?
Oh, they absolutely watched that game. If they could bring themselves to watch that game, they watched it in that manner for sure, especially as sort of humming as their machine got after those two losses. The 440 points in the last 10 games to 143 against. So they had to watch that. If I were from Notre Dame, I watched it, I would have to shut it off at some point because it would be just agony.
Do you think Notre Dame right now could beat both those teams?
Yes, I do. I also think they could lose to both of those teams because the Notre Dame, the 10 wins that they got after the two losses.
Not great. They're not great wins.
There were 3 2-10 teams in there, Purdue, Arkansas, and BC. So it's hard to read, but sure, I think so. Especially as much as they got it going, especially with having, just enough players around who did this last year and went all the way to the title game. I think
to the final game.
Matters.
To the final game.
That matters. Yeah.
All right, I read your piece in the Washington Post yesterday. It's a wonderful piece. I'm afraid you're going to call me a whiner because I am on the other side of you on this piece. I look at Tulane and James Madison. God bless them, but I don't think they were competitive particularly. I think these were basically walkover games for the teams that they played. I don't understand why there has to be group of 5 team in there. I don't get it. I think with the 12 teams, you ought to try and get the best 12. I don't think it's a charity tournament, and I would have put in Texas and Notre Dame over Tulane and James Madison, and now you tell me why I'm wrong, and it's okay. It's okay.
I just like that idea of the variety of, and also the picking the best 12 teams is always going to be impossible. It has been for 150 years, or in the sport. It's so sprawling. Not everybody can play each other. Sorting that out is always going to be an argument, I think, and there are always going to be capable arguments on both sides. And I think that with the NCAA tournament, which we all love, I guess all but a few of us maybe, but it's they don't choose the best 68, and they don't aim to choose the best 68, and that sort of mix that they put into it has been one of its fabrics to me that make it, so beloved and so cherished. And now, that's when we start getting into maybe matters of, is football just different as a concept from basketball? I'm sure you've seen a lot of talk about this. Maybe having the smaller schools in there in football is not as sort of viable an idea as it is in basketball, just because of the way the two sports are played. You can remember one player in basketball can make such a
change
huge
everything.
Difference.
Yes.
Steph Curry,
yes.
that Davidson, suddenly they're in the Elite Eight. So you have to think of it that way too, as the counter argument to mine, which is maybe it's just a sport that doesn't work that way, and the leading evidence of that would be the glaring difference in speed in the Oregon James Madison game. My goodness.
Yeah, I mean, these teams scored. They scored the first 3 times they got the ball in both of them. Okay, so but we'll agree to disagree on this one. Which of the top 4 teams to you seems most vulnerable? And that would be, Ohio State and Indiana and Texas Tech, and who am I leaving out? Georgia. Yeah,
Georgia. I guess it's Texas Tech. There are a few troubles on offense. Oregon, well, that's going to be a fabulous thing there in Miami between those two. So I think Oregon versus Texas Tech kind of is an idea that makes Texas Tech the most vulnerable of the 4. Even though Ohio State lost to Indiana, I can't spot many vulnerabilities there, and I'm going to stop. I have vowed to stop trying to spot any vulnerabilities with Indiana, because you sort of think along the way they'll falter at some point, but they've reached this point now of such sort of overall competence that while normally I would say Bama going into the Rose Bowl is going to beat them, and certainly could, I just think they are the best team.
Yeah, I mean, they've proven it this year. The doubts we have about them is about history. It's not about, It's not current. It's not current.
Right.
It's about history. Though I will tell you that for Alabama to win the national championship, given all of this all year, would be a cool story. That's a cool story. The only other question I have is, they sit idle for a long time. This is not the bowl game structure, where you sit idle for 2 months and then you play in a bowl game. This is more meaningful than a bowl game. And I don't know if this is great to be idle. What is it? It's as many as 3 weeks, right?
You mean between the end of the regular season and the beginning of the playoffs?
And for one of the seeded teams to play,
And I really believe that factor right there was a big part of explaining why Texas A&M and Miami couldn't score. I really do.
Yeah.
And it was on the good side, things that they figured out rather than things that they blundered. So I think, we're so accustomed to it. It used to be, remember the end of November, for example, Ohio State and Michigan would play, and then New Year's Day, one of them would play in the Rose Bowl. It is an old tradition, and one of them would play in the Rose Bowl often with a chance to win the national championship. So I guess we've actually probably shortened that duration, and maybe we'll shorten it more when there's a 16-team playoff, as inevitably there will be.
And that's fine, but what I'm saying is in those situations, both teams waited the same amount of time, and in this situation, there's a team that's playing in between. You know what I mean? They get their sea legs back. I don't know if it's fair, although last year it seemed to be.
Oh, I see what you're saying. And last year, remember the this round coming up, last year quarterfinals, the 5, 6, 7, and 8 beat the 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now,
So-
you have that conference title thing there where SMU and Boise State had higher seeds than Penn State, and and so I think it's definitely a factor of, it looks like it, again, just probably too small the sample size so far, but it is true that all of those lower seeds who had played on that first weekend, they won the next. Yes.
So where will you be? What's the definite game you're going to go to? I assume it's Alabama, Indiana.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Yeah, that to me, that's, yeah, if I'm a sports editor and I got one guy, I'm sending him to that game. Sure. Okay. Chuck, enjoy. We'll talk to you on the other side of it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tony. Thank you.
Chuck Culpepper is a great writer, kids. Washington Post, Chuck Culpepper. We will take a break. We will come back with email and jingle. I am Tony Kornheiser.
You're listening to The Tony Kornheiser Show.
Here comes Tony's mailbag. Got your email, faxes, and your notes. Here comes Tony's mailbag. Gonna read some folks. Hey, Nigel and Michael. You guys been good? Nigel, you want Santa to bring you a new email machine? Michael, you asking for a new pony?
I think this is a terrible idea. Ronnie Newmeyer and his best Bruce Springsteen. It's pretty good. It's wonderful.
The pony
You wanna do
picture.
do you want to do the Bethesda Bagel ad?
Yes.
Michael's legs were on the ground sitting on the pony. Sitting on the pony. Yeah.
Bethesda Bagels, we love them. You will as well. Just go to BethesdaBagels.com for the location in the D.C. area nearest you. Then pop on in and you will be thrilled.
Before we get to the mailbag, let me just say it's all cold down along the beach. The wind's whipping down the boardwalk. Hey, band, you know what time of the year it is? What time, huh? Oh, Christmas time. You guys all been good practicing real hard Clarence. You've been rehearsing real hard now, so Santa will bring you a new saxophone, right? Everybody out there been good or what? Oh, that's not many. Not many. You guys are in trouble out there. That's Bruce Springsteen, kids. Thanks to our guests today, Chuck Todd, Chuck Culpepper. Thanks as well to today's sponsors. Remember, you can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Odyssey. Get the show through Apple. Please leave us a review. Here we go. Tim Fitzgerald, Seattle, Washington. For the last 3 to 4 years, I've been trying wildly unsuccessfully to explain to my 80-year-old mother-in-law the difference between cellular and Wi-Fi on her phone. Kind of like you in the physics of electric toothbrushes. Now that we've settled on cellular comes from the sky and Wi-Fi comes from the walls, what is the definition of insanity again? So please remind Michael that not all heroes wear capes. And it says, please enjoy this AI rendering of Wilbon in his newest bear swag. And it's a picture of Wilbon. It's not really Wilbon. It looks more like Don than Mike, and he's wearing a bears inside the outline of the state of Indiana, which is funny. Kurt Unruh, Fort Wayne, Indiana. Speaking of Indiana, thank you for mentioning my fair city last night on PTI. With the relocation of the Bears to Fort Wayne, get you to visit our city. You could hang out with Glenn from Norwegian Soft Kitten and myself at Club Soda while sharing a glass of Johnny Walker Blue and see the new stadium from the patio. While it will never happen, it is a nice location for a stadium, right across from our lovely courthouse and other government buildings. Luke Russert even visited us a few months ago. Though we don't have a memorial for Fawn Leibowitz, keep on potting and happy holidays, which is very nice. From Steve the Sycophant. My thanks to you, Michael and Nigel, and the entire staff for providing me for hours upon hours of entertainment. I hope your holiday season is great. As the new year approaches, I must note that Mr. Mike Todlandtown Wilbon just made the quote of 2025. While talking to Wilbon about the Bears-Packers game, you said, did you meet the mayor? His immortal reply, meet the mayor? I know the mayor. Wishing happiness to one and all. Kelly Pears, PhD, Alexandria, Louisiana. I was delighted to hear Mr. Wilbon filled with joy on Monday's podcast. It was a nice way to start the Christmas week, rather than his usual rants of how stupid people are, although I usually agree with his rants and rather enjoy watching reactions. And wow, what an ending to the Bears game. Wilbon keeps touting Richard Dent as the only defensive player to win Super Bowl MVP. Hang on, Sparky. Here is a list of such players. Super Bowl 5, Chuck Howley, linebacker, Dallas. Super Bowl 7, Jake Scott, safety, Miami. Super Bowl 12, Harvey Martin and Randy White, defensive line, Dallas. Super Bowl 20, Richard Dent. Super Bowl 30, Larry Brown. That's what I was thinking of, cornerback, Dallas. Super Bowl 35, Ray Lewis, linebacker, Baltimore. Super Bowl 37, Dexter Jackson, cornerback, Tampa Bay. Super Bowl 48, Malcolm Smith, linebacker, Seattle. Super Bowl 50, Von Miller, linebacker, Denver. My wife and I are going to Chicago for New Year's. Thought it'd be fun to go to the Bears game the first week of January. Since we live in Louisiana and don't own such things as parkas and overcoats, could you ask Wilbon if we can sit with him in the luxury box? I'm sure it'll be nice and toasty in there. Thanks for all that you do to keep us littles entertained and informed. That's very nice. Mark Godelski, North Bethesda, Maryland. Your recent discussions about collecting matchbooks reminded me of my father's penchant for taking ashtrays from restaurants and hotels. He didn't smoke, but this was in the 60s and 70s when smoking was common, and he would pocket them as souvenirs. They usually had the name of the establishment on them, but some were just decorative. This was the case on a trip to Charlottesville, Virginia, where he took a pretty ashtray from the hotel my parents were staying at with my aunt and uncle. Later, after the four of them were leaving a tour of Thomas Jefferson's Monticello, my father reached inside his coat, pulled out the ashtray, and said to my uncle, "Look what I just took from inside." My uncle was beside himself and insisted it had to be returned to Monticello. He didn't calm down until he was convinced that it came from the hotel. When my father died, we had to dispose of 5 or 6 boxes of purloined ashtrays. Wow. Tony T in Brooklyn in D.C. So many folks on board with the matchbooks. It's great. Now I can fanboy over Mr. Tony even more because I saved them as well. I've attached a picture of one of my favorites that I had made for a bar I ran. I opened that bar in 1996. It's where I served drinks to the Indianapolis crew members. I believed I moved on to open my own bar. Mr. Saliza hosted trivia nights there. And one of my sort of David Aldrich moments every couple of weeks during Sunday brunch NFL game shifts, Mr. Carver would be walking down the block. He would pull open the front door, look in, and ask who's winning. He never came in, but he always made my day. Lately, I'm curious if he called T-Boy after he took a quick glance at all the games. Happy holidays. And this is pictures of where he'd been, you know, the restaurants that he'd opened, Capitol Lounge being one of them. From Brandon Borzelli in Lebanon, New Jersey. So much talk about where and what to do with the Matchbox collection. Do you frame your best memories and add them to the living room? Display the themes of your life, sports-related, personal favorites, fanciest places, etc. Do you line the elevator in Delaware with them? Do you sign them with a little story about where and when they came from? You can sell them as columnettes. Do you add them to the Emmy display? The Emmy display's in a closet. The real question is, where is the Matchbox from the Lilyhammer jacket purchase? There is none. If the jacket had gotten this mileage over 30 years, then the matches could be strikeless, waterproof, and hurricane-proof. If the Russians had the Lilyhammer jacket, if the Russian had the Lilyhammer jacket when he escaped Chris and Paulie, he surely would have survived the Pine Barrens incident. Red Hobbs, Lytton, Indiana. Your recent story about your winter coat brought to mind my own favorite piece of winter gear. When I joined the Navy in the 70s, I was issued a standard Navy pea coat. Of all the uniform items I received back then, it's the one thing I've held on to after all these years. Paired with a wool cap, that coat has kept me warm in every kind of weather. Plus, with my beard and aged face, I've noticed I look less like a veteran and more like I should be captaining a crab fishing vessel in the Arctic. Isn't that nice? Drew Allen. For years, I imagined the Lilyhammer jacket was some awful 1990s red, white, and blue Olympic Team USA jacket. I was way off. Oh, yeah, way off. Chris Bancells, Forest Hill, Maryland. Did I hear Michael correctly? Teaching at this time of year is on cruise control? You've clearly never taught in an elementary school in December. Friday afternoon featured candy cane and scented vomit. How's that for cruise control? Neil Air Base in Colorado. As you were reading the email from John Stieglitz on yesterday's show about the greatest living baseball player, I started yelling Sandy Koufax before you validated my opinion. The mention of Sandy Koufax reminded me of a wonderful story shared with me by another lifelong Dodger fan who was attending a game at Dodger Stadium when he fortuitously encountered Mr. Koufax on the concourse. After timidly introducing himself, sharing that Mr. Koufax was a childhood hero, and praising his on- and off-field contributions to the game and society, my friend asked if he might shake Sandy's hand. When Mr. Koufax obliged and held out his right hand, my father responded, "No, the other one." Offered his left. Lefty, sure. Gracious as always, Mr. Koufax smiled and accommodated him. Eric from McLean. I find myself driving my teenage daughter here, there, and everywhere around the DMV. On occasion, she might passively hear some of your podcast. I value that time where we might have some conversation. As a clueless middle-aged dad, I asked her, what does 6 and 7 mean? She said it means nothing. Nothing, I don't get it. She responded defiantly, what does 5 and 11 mean? A, touche, B, I've never been so proud. Mark Becker, Silver Spring, Maryland. I've been a Washington football fan for all 68 years of my life. My father had season tickets going back to Griffith Stadium. The game this week gives us a great opportunity. If the Commanders win, their record will be 5-11. I know all of us littles are praying hard for this. Happy holidays. Adam Benson, St. John's, Newfoundland. Please tell Dave I won't be able to meet up with him at the farmer's market on Saturday the 27th. I'll be in Gander at my mother's house for Christmas, but I'll be back in town on January 1st. P.S. I have a second cousin named Adam Benson as well. Why is everybody in Newfoundland named Adam Benson? Why is that? And from Jeff Simpson in Arlington, Virginia. Too cold for a club sandwich. A new meteorological standard for the Capital Weather Gang's winter fort. Got on your bike tonight. As always, everyone, do wear white.
Well, that's about it from me. I'd just like to say all the best for Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Thanks, Ringo.
How come there are no songs about a Merry Christmas?
Hey, it's Tony. On today's show, we will talk to Jason La Canfora about who should be the NFL Coach of the Year and how long Phillip Rivers will keep playing with the Colts. Plus, James Carville and Jeff Ma will call in with their weekly football picks. But first, boys and girls, let's do some commerce.
You're listening to the Tony Kornheiser Show.
You've heard me talk about Collars & Co., makers of the amazing dress collar polo. Well, now they've taken things to the next level with their brand new Maverick Performance Blazer, and you have to check this out. These blazers are sharp, perfect for travel. Why? Because they're wrinkle resistant. Just throw it in your bag. When you get to your destination, slip it back on. No wrinkles, no stress. Finally, no more figuring out how to travel with a blazer. And it's not just about convenience. The Maverick Performance Blazer is made with stretch fabric so you can move comfortably all day long. Plus, it's packed with smart features. Inside security zip pockets, a built-in optional pocket square, and even a sunglasses loop. While you're at it, pair the blazer with Collars & Co. famous dress collar polos. They've already sold over 1 million of these comfortable polos with the signature dress collar on top. So visit collarsandco.com. Use the promo code TONY for 20% off today. Use the code, people. Let's just send me one of these.
Yeah.
I'd like to see this, a non-wrinkle blazer.
Yeah.
Because then I don't have to carry a steamer around with me all the time.
Make your home smell as good as it looks.
Previously on the Tony Kornheiser Show.
I hate my phone.
Is it freeing in any way?
No, it's not. It causes anxiety that's awful, and I want to slam the phone down and break it into 1,000 pieces, but I still need it as a phone. I can text, I can phone, I just don't get any email, and, somebody's going to say, well, we sent it to you.
Yeah, it's on
and
you.
I go, well, I never got it. Well, that's not our fault. Well, why is it my fault? How did it become my fault?
The Tony Kornheiser Show is on now.
It's thousands of email. It's thousands. It's 6-7 days now. It's 1,000. It's going to take hours to just get rid of them once I find them. Where are they?
It'll give you something to do over Christmas.
It's just going to take all day. It's like if I can get it, I don't know how to even
Select
get them. People are sending in instructions on how to get them. Nigel believes he can help get them, but he didn't help yesterday.
No, but we're in a bit of a time crunch.
And today you think about thousands of email. I
updated your AOL password, so I think we have a solution.
Well, Nigel used that yesterday and couldn't get in.
Well, yeah, there was something screwy going on with the phone. It wouldn't allow me to type it in. So we're going to just hope that it's not acting screwy today.
They have the ability to go into your phone with their tentacles and change your life.
Yes.
I don't think that's right. I don't think that's right that they have that ability anytime they want. Anytime they want, they can do it. So what's the point of me having a phone? And the problem, the obvious problem here, is that there's been such a conversion to electronic mail, to email, such a conversion to it by so many, many hundreds of millions of people that it's gone. The ability to say no to Apple, no, it's gone.
No, you have to.
Don't have it. You have to play the game their way. That's Big Brother. That's what people in the 40s and 50s were afraid of. I guess nobody's afraid anymore. I am. I think with good reason. I was going to go to Delaware. The weather, this is for 2 weeks. The Capital Weather Gang, who I like, for 2 weeks, Sammy, we like Sammy.
Oh, yes.
For 2 weeks, they said, warming up, Christmas and after. Christmas to New Year's, warming up. Don't worry about all this cold. Now, Christmas to New Year's, freezing and rain and snow every single day. Like every single day starting tomorrow. for 5 days, 6 days, something
coming off
like
a very
that.
cold start to the month.
To January.
Yes.
So what good is this? What good is long-range weather predicting when it's wrong? And they do the best they can, but obviously it's wrong. A couple of things in sports. It's big sports day tomorrow, obviously. The NFL, even though they're going on streaming services, will just remind the NBA that the NBA has no standing in the United States of America, none, zero. The NFL will outrate them 10-1. It's just the NFL could put up last year's games and outrate them 10-1. But in the NBA, San Antonio beat Oklahoma City last night.
Soundly.
Beat them handily, but mostly in the fourth quarter. Ran away from them in the fourth quarter with the highlights that I saw. Oklahoma City now has 4 losses. They were like 22-1 or something like that. Now they have 4 losses. So Kendrick Perkins, who I like very much, is on the show all the time. Love him. So that prediction, 80-2, doesn't seem like it's going to work since they already have 4.
It seems
we're not halfway through.
No.
And they have 4. They're going to lose 12 to 15 games. They are. It's as simple as that. They're going to lose 12 to 15. And Wilbon's raving about, and he was early on this, raving about San Antonio may be correct. May be correct. Wembanyama goes out to 30 feet and hits jump shots.
Yeah,
That's what he likes to do. He doesn't even like to be inside. Unless he's dunking it.
What is he, 7'5"?
7'5".
Oh.
He likes to go out to 30 feet. And he hits them.
Yeah.
He hits them. You can't yell at him. He's hitting the shots. In the most important sports news to me yesterday, we didn't get a chance to talk about this on the PTI show because it happened while the PTI show was going on. Brooks Koepka, a 5-time major champion. Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, 5. He has more majors than any current active player with 5. Rory has 4. Does Rory have 5 as well, Michael?
Oh, he's up to 5 now, I think.
Okay, so no one has more than Koepka, who's on the tour, it would be accurate to say. Koepka does not and has never had that sort of standing of Rory or Spieth when he was good or Dustin Johnson when he was good or, people like that. He has not had that standing. I think, I don't know if his majors are devalued, and nobody seems to like him. Nobody seems to like the guy.
Players respect him.
Yeah, but he can play. And he can play in the big ones, which is really what matters.
But he could play
he's leaving the LIV Tour. However much money he put in his pocket on the LIV Tour, it's in his pocket. He got guarantees. These things don't happen on the PGA Tour. There's all sorts of talk about how the PGA will not talk within the last 24 hours, but in the previous months and years, how the PGA will not let these guys back, not let the guys who go to LIV back without a penalty, maybe a monetary penalty, maybe they have to write a check. There was a lot of talk about that. It's easy to have that talk. So Mike Tyson says, it's easy to have a game plan until you get punched in the mouth. It's easy to have that talk before somebody says, I'm off the LIV Tour. I'm off now. There are 3 people. Michael, I think you'll agree with this, and I'll get to you in a second, but there are 3 people on the LIV Tour that the PGA Tour should want. And Brooks Koepka, Jon Rahm, Bryson DeChambeau. They're all multiple major winners. DeChambeau has a large following. He does. I know Wilbon hates him, but he's still got a large following, and Rahm could be the best player in the world at any time. They would want those people back. Michael, this is the opportunity to set a precedent. I assume you think they want Brooks Koepka back. What is the opportunity for a solution? What do you think the solution is?
Yeah, I actually feel like getting these players to return in any capacity is more of a symbolic victory about the ending of what LIV Tour promised to be, which is this big disruptor. Of the last couple of years, it's gained no traction with an American audience, and it's becoming a international, particularly Asian and Australian tour, which probably is the solution to bringing men's professional golf back together. You have Brooks Koepka, who has had a child since he has joined the tour. He's had some some tragedy in his family as well. So the idea that he wants to stay close to family does make sense versus, traveling around the world. But, they really don't need these players back anymore, particularly Koepka. He's getting older. He's still eligible to play in the majors this year. We don't really know how competitive he would be in what the PGA Tour is now, which is elevated events mixed in with some regular tour events. So I think it's more of this symbolic victory of getting him back. It was a poorly kept secret that he was unhappy and wanted back as soon as Freddie Couples was mentioning this on a radio show. So I think the months that have passed have been trying to come up with some friendly solution for him to live a year early, and it sort of gave the PGA Tour and mostly its player representatives time and space to try and figure out how can we allow the big guys back, because it's not just, hey, Brooks Koepka, you're tapped to now playing all these signature tour events. There has to be some way for him to show form and get back into those big events.
What do you think that way is going to be? They can all play in the majors. Everybody can play in the majors. That's
sure, and again, this goes back to the start of LIV 4 or 5 years ago. The majors are a separate entity, so he could always play in the majors, and he was the first force who went out and won. He won a major while on LIV and sort of showed, hey, we can still play. So, that was never really in question.
Well, do you think that the PGA Tour will sort of quietly let him back in, or do you
Absolutely
think that
not. There's going to be huge drama internally because you're going to have a lot of rank-and-file pros who say, we have been aging out and we're not necessarily qualifying automatically for these, limited field events, and we don't want you to allow these guys to come in and take our spots because there's guaranteed money. You talk about the money that was put into his pocket by going to LIV. Money has been put into the pockets of every single tour player because of what's happened over these last couple of years. The problem, and even Freddie Couples in his quotes has mentioned this, the tour has gotten younger. You won't recognize maybe a quarter to a quarter of the players as household names. And here's what's always been the problem with men's professional golf. The names that you recognize are not necessarily the names who are climbing the leaderboards, who are creating the drama week in and week out on the PGA Tour. So no, I don't think these players are going to be happy. I think they're going to want to see, some public apologies, which I don't
like
really
restitution.
think. I don't think Brooks Koepka is the type of guy who's going to go out and put his, head in his hands and apologize for what he did. And no, I think they want to see public apology. I think they're going to want to come up with some money solution, and there really isn't any, because then you also have to try and parse out how much money some of these players earned by staying, or what the overall value of this, for-profit enterprise is now.
So your position would be that this is not going to be a smooth transition back.
No, and I think there's going to be, as you've seen over the last couple of years with players like Rory's going to sit there going like, sure, I want to compete against the best. I know Brooks Koepka is the best for our product. Bring him back. Rory's not worried about qualifying. He's not worried about, getting into the limited field events. So I think there will be a huge issue with players who have gone around the monopoly board, maybe have qualified for the next year, maybe think they don't have it in them to play for another couple years and want to try and maximize their earning potential right now. I think they're hoping that Brooks Koepka lays low for a little bit of time, which he probably will, because I don't know what sort of deal LIV Golf was able to give him to allow him to leave likely a year early. They might have said, hey, don't say anything bad about us. We'll quietly let you keep the extra money. And the PGA Tour is sitting there, hey, just wait your turn and we'll find you a spot at the table.
He doesn't have to qualify for the Masters, right? He has qualified for the Masters.
No, he won the 2023 PGA Championship, so he is qualified for all of these.
For everything, for 5 years?
Yep.
Is that how it works?
Yeah.
Yeah, and Rahm is certainly qualified, and DeChambeau is certainly qualified. They've won majors. Is there anybody else on that tour that is important? Even if you don't think that Rahm and DeChambeau are important, is there anybody that you would say is important to get back?
I could go for the cheap joke of Taylor Gooch and what they, Greg Norman used to say about how he's the best player in the world. You have people like Joaquin Neiman, and frankly, you're losing players. You have players who are beginning to retire, and for LIV to succeed, you have to see new players, younger players choose to go that route, and you have had some international players who are going that route. I would have said Cam Smith 2 or 3 years ago, but he has turned into a very quiet professional. You saw him play well in Australia, where he missed out on that 18th hole. But beyond that, I come back to, if we're playing what's the word, this is all about symbolic victories. I would have said before he really ruined his legacy, Phil would be this grandfather role that you'd love to see him hosting tour events, being just this ambassador of the tour. And he has totally poured gasoline on that possibility. So really, no. I think they're happy with the way that their tour has moved, and they quietly can let all these guys go.
Do you think you can help me get my email?
I changed. So going back to AOL, AOL is like the most trusting service. I just go, hey, reset password. They're like, sure, let me log you in automatically to whatever device is randomly located in South Carolina. No questions asked. Here's your recovery text message. And the requirements. Normally, there's all these strict requirements about special
Everybody
cases.
sends
They're like,
bills
no, just choose your
Yeah.
pet's name.
They just, they send bills now.
Yeah, everything.
And they don't send them any other way. And so they're going to say, well, you didn't pay. I've gone through this. Well,
I think
you
the only
didn't pay
solution,
the bill.
throw this phone out, let's get you a new phone, and we'll just create a new burner email account for you. You're just going to be off the grid. They can't find you.
Well, but I'm still obliged to pay the phone bill.
We'll pay for that one, obviously.
The American Express bill. I don't have anything.
American Express comes to the house, right?
Yeah, that comes in an actual letter, doesn't it?
Yeah, except that the mail service isn't as good as you think.
It's not.
There's 2 bills a month I don't get. You just don't get them. You don't get them because they actually don't want to have to.
No, they don't.
They don't want to have to go door to door.
I have one service that insists on me sending a check. I was like, Tony would really love to work with these guys.
That's all I care about. We'll take a break. Next week, by the way, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday as well.
Yes.
So we'll take a break, and Jason Lockenfora will join us when we return. I'm Tony Kornheiser.
Guys, by now you've heard me talk about
Rich.
This is the Tony Kornheiser Show.
Tony Kornheiser Show.
This is a group called Debonair Music. This is a song called Seasons All For You. And they write, happy holidays to everybody. We're sending over our Christmas song from the official R&B boy band of the Tony Kornheiser Show, wishing you a happy holidays. We are an R&B singing group located in the Washington, D.C. area. The group consists of Willie Wood, yes, the son of the NFL Hall of Famer, Phil Carroll, Wiley Simons, and Nelson Modest. We hope that you enjoy our original Christmas song, Seasons All For You. It's lovely.
It is.
It's lovely.
Yes.
Good. Debonair Music. Good. Plays in Jason Lockenfora, and normally we ask him on Friday about the Thursday game, but today is Wednesday because we're doing 3 shows quick. So we're not going to ask about that. But I will ask this because the most interesting news, I think, in the NFL right now is the 49ers and how the 49ers have the ability to get the number 1 seed. The 49ers, who've been actually under the radar in the toughest division in the league, they've been under the radar behind the Rams and the Seahawks. But if they beat the Bears and the Seahawks, both games at home, they not only get home field all the way to the Super Bowl, they get it in the Super Bowl because it's on their home field. Right. What do you think of the 49ers and their chin? That's a very tough double, the Bears and the Seahawks.
Yeah. Look, they're on quite a run. They have improved as the season has gone along. They've had to do a lot of tap dancing at the quarterback position because of Purdy's availability. The offense is obviously humming right now. I still have real concerns about the defense, but they generate no pass rush.
They have no players. Bosa and Warner, right? They're out.
Right. They don't affect the quarterback enough, and they have not run the ball very consistently at all, which is so counterintuitive. For Kyle Shanahan operation, I don't know, Tom. I still have a hard time buying them as the last team standing in the NFC, let alone the NFL. Obviously, circumstances like the 1 seed and a week off while everybody else works and never having to leave your home stadium again, that's a big deal. And if they're able to secure those creature comforts, then I have to further factor that into my sort of equation and my forecast and my handicap. But I just don't buy them in the trenches enough. I mean, when they can't run the ball with Christian McCaffrey, something's wrong. And they cannot generate a pass rush. They don't have interior players or edge players who make you work. I mean, look what Philip Rivers did to them. I mean,
27 points. Yeah.
It just gives me a lot of pause when we start talking about the best of the best for 4 straight weeks, or I guess 3 straight weeks for them if they get the bye to get to do the job. I doubt that I will favor them. You obviously have to see the matchups and what the bracket's going to look like. To me, if you had to have me rank the teams in that division,
I'd still put them third, but they might win it. So, I mean, what really matters and what doesn't, I don't know.
Well, if they beat the Seahawks, they will have swept them because they beat them once already in Seattle. So that would we had Jeff Saturday on the PTI show yesterday, and I'm a sports writer, so I have limited understanding of football. I'm from the outside in, and Jeff's from the inside out. And so if you ask me about Coach of the Year, I immediately go to three guys. I go to Ben Johnson at Chicago. I go to Mike Vrabel. I'm not ranking them in order. Mike Vrabel in New England and Liam Cohn in Jacksonville. That's who I go to. And Jeff Saturday suggests that Kyle Shanahan has done the best job of his life and should be Coach of the Year. What do you think of that?
I mean, I think he's done a really good job. I don't think he's the Coach of the Year. Yeah, I mean, it's all subjective, obviously. Whether it's someone who's never done it before and that kind of blows you away, or someone who got to a new program, like a program where all they've been doing is losing 13 times a year, and he's going to have them win 13 or 14 times a year with a 22-year-old quarterback. I don't know. Like, I'm kind of with you. I would kind of go that way. I mean, I've established coaches who, have maybe been overlooked or maybe haven't gotten their flowers enough this season. Kyle probably stands out most from that group, and maybe it's not even close, right? Because look at the Ravens and look at the Chiefs, and even look at the Bills and sort of how rough a road that's been. And so I think, if you were going to put these guys in different sort of pods or bins based on their experience and resume, I think he would rise to the fore as a candidate from guys who've been doing this a long time, who had to do more with less because of injury and circumstance. But like, look what Mike McDonald's done in that division. Like, I don't know that I think Kyle Shanahan's done it better. Mike McDonald, in his second year, the quarterback just got there.
Yeah,
it's
Seattle's real good.
In large part, guys he sort of handpicked, or the guys he felt like were worthy of sticking around from what he inherited from Pete Carroll, which wasn't a whole lot. I don't know, man. Like, they never lose on the road. Like, there's no formula, right? This is all, everyone brings their own biases and sort of which teams we've seen maybe more than others or whatever. But Kyle's got a lot of people who love Kyle in the media, and Kyle's got no shortage of people who will always bang the drum for Kyle. And at the end of the day, this is a human thing, and that might resonate. And if that drum beat grows louder, these voters do a lot of interesting things. I think it's going to be one of the upstarts, or someone like Vrabel, who sat out for a year and just got to a place where everything prior to him arriving had been the torpedoing of the Patriots since Tom Brady left, and he reversed that, and he reversed it immediately. Well, maybe not immediately, because they lost to the Raiders in Week 1, and then they lost to the Steelers when they turned the ball over in Week 3. But pretty much since then, he's erased it.
Yeah, I think he would be my choice, but their schedule is easy. I mean, they have played a fourth-place schedule.
Yeah, but that's what happens when you get somewhere where they've lost 27 times in 2 years.
Yeah. They were 8-26. 8-26 in 2 years, and now they've won 12 or 13 games. That division, by the way, the NFC West is so strong. If you're Arizona, you're looking at 0-6. You have to petition the league to put you in another division, don't you?
I mean, well, you've got to get the quarterback thing right. And Brissett's the leading passer in the NFL since Week 6. But, no one...
They don't win.
You know what's not there for the franchise would be, should be, can be? Jonathan Gannon's defense is falling apart. It's a complete and utter bleep show. His defense is hemorrhaging 30 points a game over the second half of the season, and they can't beat anybody. And yes, they've had some injuries and whatever, but I don't know how you run that thing back with Jacoby Brissett and Jonathan Gannon. I know there's people out there in the media saying they'll be fine. That's not what I hear.
I don't think they're going to be fine at all. Phillip Rivers has now played 2 games. He's played remarkably well.
Yes.
Are they going to keep playing him, or are they going to say thanks, but go home now because we're done?
I made it sound like they are riding with him, which I find odd and interesting. On so many levels, it also has my wheels turning. Daniel Jones suffered a catastrophic injury. It's clear that Anthony Richardson doesn't have a future there.
No, he's not. He's not there.
I'm wondering, are they looking at this extended, even when the playoffs are pretty much done? Because they might want this guy back next year. I mean, why else would you do it?
Next year? Really? You think that? Right.
I mean, why else are you playing him? Like, he tried to save your season. He did his part. Your defense was an abject failure. So that's pretty much done. Like, what more is, you know what I mean? Like, what more utility are you gaining from this situation unless you're gathering data points that might lead you to try to have this guy hold you up next year until Daniel Jones comes back? I don't know. Like, otherwise, I don't know what we're doing, but I will say, I watch a lot of football. Well, like just right there. Josh Johnson has been with the Commanders on a daily basis since the offseason. What Phillip Rivers did coming in off the farm versus Josh Johnson just putting down the clipboard and walking on a field that he's been on all year, to me is night and day. Like,
yes.
I mean, I look at like the Ravens signed Cooper Rush. Like, they signed Cooper Rush in March or whatever. He's here the whole time. When he has to play, it's an abject failure. Then I look at literally Phillip Rivers coming out of years of retirement doing that, and I'm like, holy moly, something's off here.
I would say that they have, because he played, they're delaying his eligibility into the Hall of Fame. I'd say he gets in first ballot whenever he's available now, just because of this. This is
helping.
This is amazing.
I mean,
right?
You thought he was Hall of Very Good or Hall of Great, but not Hall of Fame. Yeah, this. I mean, again, now look, what are these games all going on now too, and whatever? I don't know, but he's playing in them. They count the standings, and I've been twice now. He's knocked me on my ass. Something like I didn't think that. Like, I didn't think that could happen. Like, I didn't think that's how the big leagues work. Like, and again, it makes me look at some of these other quarterbacks, and I'm like, geez, like, they're the ones who've got to be like, what am I doing wrong here? Like,
yeah, because guy's 44 years old and haven't played in 5 years.
You can't push the ball down the field. There's physical limitations to this stage of his career. And he's clearly not in the greatest shape of his life. But for him still to be able to do this,
he's upright.
Baffling.
Yeah, he's upright. Everybody thought he would have bones broken. Right. He's upright. John Harbaugh. John Harbaugh. Hot seat. Is this a Mike Tomlin situation where there's
I think it's a Mike Tomlin situation that actually happened. Like, you remember all the talk 2 weeks ago about Roethlisberger and everybody else? Maybe he wants to move on. Maybe it's time to move on. Maybe these people will never truly appreciate him, and, nothing lasts forever. I think that's actually what's going to come to pass here. He's not getting fired. I don't think Steve Bisciotti's going to call him in his office and say, "Hey, bud, thanks for your service." But I
think
get
a job in 30 seconds. So
yeah, there'll be conversations, and I think there's going to have. Look, they're at such an organizational inflection point. Like, the offensive coordinator has done a tremendous job, except for 2 or 3 games when everything mattered, when he literally no-showed. The D coordinator should not have been hired in the first place, so there's no way they can bring him back. Most of those staffs are going to need to be replaced. The quarterbacks, because they refuse to really get ahead of his contract situation, the quarterback now has them completely by the cojones because he counts $80 million against the cap. He's got a full no trade, and he's got a no franchise designation, which means they need him. And you can't just do a simple contract restructuring because he doesn't have enough years left on his deal where you could just, pad it out another 5 years, prorate it, and take it down 75%. That option does not exist. You either do a brand new contract with Lamar Jackson, and he's going to have your ear like never before, because if you're not catering to him now, who are you catering to? Because you can't move forward as an organization and have room, cap space, and money to sign anybody else until you get this done. And unlike the Buffalo Bills, who addressed it last offseason, your GM told his fan base, I don't have that much to do this offseason. Okay, that showed in your product. So you've got all that going on, plus you need to rebuild your offensive line, you need to rebuild your defensive line. They have holes all over the roster. It's not pretty.
Do you think on a scale of...
And I just say, John can go somewhere else, have a fresh start. And he's not going to have Lamar Jackson, but he might have Cam Ward, who was a 1-1, just a year ago. And his former defensive coordinator, Denard Wilson, is already there. I mean, the New York Football Giants wouldn't be all over John Harbaugh. He'd have Jack there.
You know who else would be? The University of Michigan. They'd say, let's get the sane Harbaugh. Let's get him. Let's get the sane one.
And look, if the guy from Notre Dame were to go to the NFL, as a lot of people think he will have, including me, numerous options.
Right.
John's daughter played lacrosse at Notre Dame. They're Midwest kids. They've always had a bit of a bit of a Notre Dame fixation. I mean, him and his brother playing football in the backyard. With his dad coaching the Miami of Ohio or whatever, like listening to the Notre Dame games on the radio. I think Notre Dame would have a very special appeal to him also.
Wow. Okay.
I don't know if he want to go where his brother's already been, and all of his assistants have already been. The Michigan thing might be a little, I don't know.
Weird, but fun. You're fun column to write. Exactly. Plug Wannabat for us. Plug your outlet, Wannabat.
Thank you, as always, Tone. If you are going to be wagering on any sports, and we've got a lot going on this time of year, from the Premiership in England to obviously the NFL, we've got NBA on Christmas Day, college hoops on hiatus till the weekend, but then conference play starts. We're handicapping my co-partner and I thought we'd done this stuff. Honestly, scarily close to 24/7, probably, 18 hours a day while we're awake, checking lines, running numbers, watching film, and then giving you guys about 30 minutes of content every day on our YouTube, on our Twitter. You can get it off at Wanna Bet with us. It's our favorite plays of the day. What we think are pretty smart short leg parlays, opportunities to get plus money bets, not laying $3 to get one, like a lot of these people selling BS props. So anyway, check us out, www.wannabetwithus.com. You can get our audio, our video, everything that we do around noon, 7 days a week, probably 350 days a year. And
you got no other job at the moment, so you may as well do this.
Well, I did the radio thing, and I got some. I don't have enough jobs. So yeah, if you're looking, if you're an editor out there, you're a producer, you're looking for
come on,
to buttress your NFL coverage. I have I think what is a fairly detailed, unique resume. I've pretty much done everything in this business, and I'm eager to continue writing and analyzing NFL football. So you can find me on the LinkedIn or you can email me.
So good. It's like he's carrying a sign on this show.
You can email me at
Wannabat@gmail. Yeah. All right. Talk to you next week. Jason Lockenford. Just wonderful. Just wonderful. We will come back with James Carville and Jeff Ma. We know about Jeff Ma. We never really know about James Carville. We'll see. I'm Tony Kornheiser.
Make your home
too loud. You sang off key.
Amazon or at rkbeverages.com.
But you better not complain, boy. You get in trouble with the man.
Such a great beginning. Midnight specials. James Carville's walk-in music. This week's picks with James Carville and Jeff Ma, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more. I was watching the bowl game last night, and Southern Miss was great for the first half. You were going to win, and then nothing after that.
Yeah, it was a bad second half.
So you finished 3-3.
So yesterday, I texted Rob Emanuel yesterday. And said, day after tomorrow is the birthday of the most famous Jew that ever lived. He said, "What do you mean? My birthday's in November."
That's funny. That's funny. I like that. Okay. 3-3. That's funny. It just went out over to the 11 people who've listened to the podcast. 3-3 last week, 43, 45-2, Mount 500 insight. And you won on the over. I didn't think you would win on the over, but you did. You won on. I watched it when Jacksonville scored that touchdown. I went, Carville just won the over. So, all right, what do you got?
17 equals money. I'll remember the moment.
Yeah. What do you got?
What I got? Let's what do you got? I got San Diego State plus 3.5 against North Texas.
Okay. Is that a bowl? That's the New Mexico Bowl, I think?
Yeah, the Isleta.
Yeah, one of these stupid bowls. Okay.
One of these bowls.
Yeah.
All right, Ravens at Green Bay. What do y'all got? Green Bay minus 2.5?
2.5 is fine. Now, their quarterback is in concussion protocol.
I know.
right? Jordan
Why
Love.
do you think you're only 2.5 at home?
Yeah, or else it would be 6.
I'm going to still go with Green Bay.
Okay, all right.
All right. The Jags, Colts, under 48.5.
I thought it was 47.5. You're going over. I think 47.5.
Okay, take the over. 47.5. Take the over. I'm not arguing with you.
Okay, you're not worried about Indianapolis?
47.5.
Okay, go ahead. What else?
And the Saints visit the Titans over 39.5. I'd go over 39.5.
We'll give it to you. 38.5.
That Saints quarterback has got some confidence now.
Shuck, right? That's his name?
He's not the same guy that started the season.
Right. He is now, I read about this the other day, in his first 6 games, he became the leading rookie quarterback passer in the history of the Saints in just 6 games. Yeah, he seems, Kellen Moore seems to like him, and they know what they're doing. I don't know that is a high-scoring game, because the Titans aren't that good.
Look, Saints defense, that Saints have, literally, I watch them, they have one of the maybe 7 best defenses in the league. The defense is good, but and I'm taking over against.
You're going over. That's counterintuitive.
Going over.
What are you doing?
Okay. That's not a lot of points for an NFL game.
No, it's not.
I mean,
well, they've got 5 wins between them. Yeah, the standings will tell you.
Right. Yeah.
All right, so you'll pick college games next week for us, early, right?
Yeah, I'm sure. Oh, yeah. Oh, we'll have
okay, good.
Yeah, I think next Wednesday.
We tweaked the algorithm. Yeah,
are you down?
But we fixed that.
Do you still have 6 million data points, or are you down to like 4.3 million?
T-Boy noticed that we had a glitch in the way we wrote the code and the algorithm, and it was on the moisture content of the playing surface. But we tweaked that. That's part of our input into our data point, our high-speed computer. We're using AI.
So this is fantastic. This is just
we got everything.
Fantastic.
We got the moisture content of the playing surface.
It's just great. That's great. All right, we'll talk to you next week. Happy holidays, James. Happy holidays at home.
Okay.
Okay, bye. James Carville, boys and girls. We've got Jeff Ma with us now. Jeff had a 2-2-1 week. He is 46-34-2. That is the best.
Wait. I had a 2-2-1. I thought I had a 3-2. How did I have a 2-2-1?
You had a. Wait a second. I'll go backwards. You had Carolina +3 at Tampa Bay, and they won by 3.
+3. Are we familiar with these concepts?
Oh.
+3. If they win by 3, then I won.
Oh, yeah, you won. You're right. I'm wrong. So you're 3-2.
I was 3-2.
And now you're 47-34-1. Oof. Right?
Yeah. You wouldn't do this to a simian, would you?
Well, he never wins. He never even comes close.
Yeah, he's terrible.
Wait, I did this. Wait, did I have Chuck Todd wrong too? No, Chuck Todd had Tampa Bay -3. No, he picked Carolina. It was Tampa Bay -3. And for some reason, I thought that was a tie. But but Chuck Todd won as well, right?
Yes, he did.
All right. Boy, am I stupid.
Carville might have had them +13, so he probably won also.
Carville won the over, which he never wins. But he immediately lost the first bowl game by 10,000.
Oh, it was the Memphis game, yeah. He did not do well on that.
All right, so Chuck Todd is now 59-57-1, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
59-57, and there's no 1. There's no tie, 59. Okay, good. So good. All right, let me get into a couple of things here. The college games. We are now at the semifinals or the quarterfinals, I guess, the last 8. I guess I want to ask this. The fact that Alabama won and came back on the road like they did that give Alabama a big boost? What is Indiana, Alabama right now in terms of points?
I think that's 6.5. But if you look at the futures odds, that's even more telling. Indiana is +340, meaning they are the second favorite. The first favorite is Ohio State,
right,
who's +185.
Right.
Alabama's +1,800. So they are the third worst odds. You'd have to go Ole Miss, Miami of Florida, who's about +2,000, and then Alabama's +1,800. I don't think people have a lot of faith in Alabama. Now, it's interesting, obviously, because going into the season, Alabama was one of the favorites. So it is interesting to see this much movement in a situation now when there's only 8 teams left for Indiana to be this. And I guess it just comes down to how much you really believe in Indiana. But Indiana's the number 1 seed, and they're the second favorite behind Ohio State.
And they beat Ohio State. They beat them in a game,
They did, but obviously Ohio State, that was a weird game because Ohio State had 2 possessions inside the 10-yard line in the second half and didn't score on either. And if they just kick a field goal on one of them, that at least goes to overtime.
So Ole Miss is the longest shot on the board?
They are, and obviously it's because they have a very tough route. They have to play Georgia first, and then they have to play Ohio State, and they have to play Indiana. So they have to beat all three of those teams to win it all. And, I think that going in, they were not thought of to be the highest talent team.
I think they'd be the best story. I actually think Alabama and Ole Miss would be the 2 best stories if either of them won. Don't you?
I think Ole Miss would be for sure.
Yes.
I mean, I'm not holding any futures. I mean, I have Ole Miss futures, so hopefully they. But it's a long shot, but it would certainly be a good story. It'd be a good it'd be a good middle finger to Lane Kiffin.
Absolutely, 100% true. Let me move to the NFL. We had Jeff Saturday on, and he said it's the greatest year he ever remembers as a player or in the media. He says there's more parity than ever. He said he believed that 8 different teams could win the Super Bowl, and he said when he was a player, there was never more than 3 or 4, and he's really impressed by this. What are your thoughts on all of that?
I mean, the odds would say that he's correct, right? Because at this point of the year, there's usually a team that's less than 3-1 to win the Super Bowl, and the Rams are the favorites at a little over 4-1, and then you have the Bills who are about 7-1, and then you have the Broncos and the Patriots and the Seahawks. The Seahawks are about 6-1. The Patriots are just under 10-1, and the Broncos are just under 10-1. So yeah, I mean, you definitely have a lot of teams that right now are still in it. The Eagles are less than 10-1. It's a very, very interesting season with a lot of parity, and the futures markets will tell you that's true. You
live where I'm going to talk about now. If San Francisco can win these 2 home games, they're home games now. They're good teams, the Bears and the Seahawks, but they're home games. They've already beaten the Seahawks. If San Francisco wins these, they're home all the way through the Super Bowl because the Super Bowl's in where they play, right? That would be something.
It would be something. I mean, I think the challenge with the 49ers is that they just don't, their defense is not good. They don't have enough talent on defense. Although there's talk that if they advance far enough that Fred Warner could come back, but they have really just got decimated by injuries on defense. And I think when pushed, I mean, just look at last night's game. I mean, how are you going to allow someone that old to be able to score that many points on you, right? It's interesting because I think when it comes down to it, when they play against good offenses, now, I mean, Shanahan has done an incredible job. We have to give him credit for that, and so is Saleh. And they're young on defense, but I feel like when it comes to push comes to shove, they're going to have trouble stopping other teams.
Okay. All right, tell us what you want this week. What are your picks?
Okay, I'm going to do a bunch of the college games just because they're out there, and we're not going to talk before. I don't think we'll talk before. Can I do the playoff games? Is that allowed?
Yes, you can do whatever you want. I mean, it just means that, if they're still out there when we talk next, just don't pick them again. That's all. Sure.
Okay. I'm going to take Ohio State minus the 8.5. That line opened at 10, and it's gone down to 8.5. I like Ohio State to win that game comfortably.
Okay.
I'm going to take Texas Tech plus the 2. Again, this is a line that it is what it is because Texas Tech was a much lower rated team than Oregon was, and everyone still thinks Oregon is that elite team, but I like Texas Tech to win that game outright.
Okay.
I'm going to take Indiana minus 6.5 in a blowout against Alabama. I think Alabama struggled and somehow managed to turn that game around from 17-0 when they looked dead. But I think Indiana's the real deal, and I think they win that game easily. And I'm actually going to take Ole Miss plus the 6.5 against Georgia. I like Georgia as a team. They've gotten better all year, but it's a lot of points to a team that really played them very, very tough in the regular season already.
Can I go back to the Ohio State-Miami game for a second?
Sure.
The Miami A&M game was awful. It was torture. It was brutal. Yes, the last 3 minutes were great, but if you see a game like that, it's very hard to believe that they can do anything against Ohio State, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think Ohio. This is the question. Like now, Ohio State's stepping up in competition, but are they? You know, is this really the competition that's going to bother them? And my guess is no.
Yeah, that's how I feel too. You going to pick any pro games or just college games?
I'll take a pro game.
Okay.
Let me see. I
thought you were 2-2-1. I really feel stupid.
Somehow it's probably my fault.
No, it's my fault. I thought he was 2-2-1. You know, I just had that wrong. Yeah. Carolina.
Yeah, it's all good. And the NFL, I'm actually going to take. God, it's like a funny slate. I'm actually going to take the. Let's see here. I'm going to go through this again. What were some of the ones that Chuck Todd took? I'm curious. I'm always curious.
But you got to understand, we give Chuck games.
Yeah, we gave him Cowboys, Commanders,
Houston Texans, Chargers, Baltimore, Green Bay, Jacksonville, Indy, Seattle, Carolina. Seattle giving 7.5 on the road. Philadelphia, Buffalo, and Chicago, San Francisco. I mean, it's harder because he doesn't get to pick games. It is, to be fair.
Yeah. I'm going to take the Bills -1 against the Eagles, at home against the Eagles.
He had it at 1.5, right?
Yeah.
1.5. Oh, but it's now down to 1? Okay.
That's what I'm seeing.
Okay, yeah. That's fine. That's fine.
Those are my picks.
Okay, wonderful. So we'll talk to you. When are these games?
Those games are all
New Year's Day?
January 1st and December 31st, so they're about a week away.
Yeah, I think Ohio State's on New Year's Eve, and the other 3 are on New Year's Day.
Okay, so were we gonna talk before those?
This is my way of saying I don't need to talk to you guys all next week.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, we're gonna just wait for you.
Feels like you're breaking up with us, Jeff.
Smart,
yeah.
Right?
What did we do wrong? Who's on Bet the Process this week?
We're dark this week. It's the holiday week. We're not as dedicated to the craft as you are.
Oh, yeah. Well, you make more money doing the other stuff you do, so it's okay. All right, we'll talk to you. Have a great
Happy
holiday.
holidays, guys.
Okay, bye.
Yeah, bye.
This week's picks by James Carville and Jeff Mobb, and brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more. We will come back with email and jingle. I'm Tony Kornheiser.
Guys, by now you've heard me talk about Collars & Co., makers of the...
This holiday season, try...
The Tony Kornheiser Show.
Said the orange man to littles everywhere. Listen to what I say. Listen to what I say. There must be free food and parking there. Listen to what I say. Listen to what I say. A box, and a box of that, and leave 2 robes hanging on the rack. And leave 2 robes hanging on the rack. Said the orange man to the underling, do you know who I am? Do you know who I am? Invite me, but I won't go to your thing. Do you know who I am? Do you know who I am? A star, that's who the I am.
It's Kirsten Olmstead. It's just great.
It really is.
It's brilliant. She's a great singer.
She's got such a great voice.
Just so great. You want to do the Bethesda Bagel in?
Yes. Got hot bagels and small bagels.
Got minis today.
Yes.
Never saw them before.
No, it's very exciting.
See how those work in a couple of days.
Yeah.
They look good.
They do look good, don't they?
Do they sell those?
They do.
They're small bagels.
Would you like to switch our order to get the small bagel?
I don't know. I haven't eaten them
yet. Yes, it's right. Exactly, for party platters. Yeah, all your holiday needs. Just go to BethesdaBagels.com for the location in the D.C. area nearest you. Then pop on in and you'll be thrilled.
Before we get to the mailbag, let me just say, so this is Christmas, and what have you done? Another year over, a new one just begun, and so this is Christmas. I hope you had fun. The near and the dear ones, the old and the young. It's John Lennon.
Yeah.
It's from 50 years ago.
It's the best.
John Lennon's the best Christmas song out there. It is. Thanks to our guests today, Jason Lockenfor, James Carville, Jeff Ma. Thanks as well to today's sponsors. Remember, you can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Odyssey. Get the show through Apple. Please leave us a review. From our friend Ed Butt in Frankfort, Michigan, many of the oddities concerning Kansas City, Missouri versus Kansas City, Kansas can be explained by one fact. For many years, excuse me, Kansas City, Missouri was dry, and Kansas City, Kansas was not. So country clubs located themselves on the Kansas side of the state line. I believe there even is one where the course is in Missouri, but the clubhouse is in Kansas. Information for life. That's really good to hear. From Father Aaron in Kansas City, Kansas, in your discussion of the Chiefs leaving Missouri, I thought, hey, I know that greater metropolitan area. I'm from that greater metropolitan area. Quick thought and then a quick timeline. The Kansas City area is just that, the Kansas City area. In general, leaving room for local rivalries, etc. This is broadly speaking one big city with multiple different governments. To say you're driving downtown using only one word on the Kansas side where I live means driving over to Kansas City, Missouri. In some places, crossing over is as simple as crossing State Line Road and not giving it a second thought. Very fast, July 2023, the Chiefs announced 3 possible plans: renovate Arrowhead, demolish Arrowhead, and build a new stadium on site or build elsewhere. January 2024, Chiefs announced they are staying in Missouri in Jackson County if voters approve a 3/8 sales tax extension in April. County Executive Frank White, yes, that Frank White, the former Royals second baseman, vetoed the sales tax. Jackson County legislature overrides the veto, sending it to a public vote on the ballot. March 2024, Chiefs and Royals renew lease at current site if April vote succeeds. April 2024, the ballot measure fails. Jackson County voters rejected the sales tax. Kansas City begins wooing the Chiefs in earnest. June 24th through April 25, some small potatoes, like Kornheiser's potatoes. July 2025, Governor Kehoe of Missouri tries to keep the team, signs a new law to try to keep them. September 2025, Frank White removed from office on an 85% to 15% recall. December 2025, most recent news, Chiefs announce move to Kansas. On the same topic, from Larry Schumacher, who writes, season's greetings from Kansas City, Missouri. I just listened to Tuesday's show, and I'm here to satisfy your curiosity about how people are feeling about the Chiefs moving to godforsaken Kansas after 70 years in Missouri. Are we bitter? Of course not. Why would we be bitter? Just because the Kansas legislature outbid the Missouri legislature by agreeing to subsidize 70% of the $3 to $4 billion price tag to build a new stadium, office complex, and practice facility. Why would anybody be bitter about the Hunt family creating a bidding war and selling out to the highest bidder? Maybe the most telling thing in this story is that the new stadium will have 10,000 fewer seats than Arrowhead. I guess fans don't really matter. I guess the bond between a city and a team doesn't really matter, at least not as much as TV and gambling revenue. I've always loved the line you borrowed from Don Allmeyer, that the answer to all your questions is money. Here's my 2-part corollary. Part 1, money runs everything. Part 2, money ruins everything. But why would we be bitter? Sarcastic voice added by me. Aaron in Milwaukee. On the Chiefs leaving Missouri for a new dome stadium in Kansas, the reasoning is revealed by Chiefs owner Clark Hunt. Quote, it will give Kansas City the opportunity to bid on events that we can't host right now, like the Super Bowl, the college football playoff, and the NCAA Final Fours. Not to mention, unquote, not to mention concerts, etc., as a venue usable year-round. It's a reason I understand, but it's still a bitter pill to swallow. I couldn't even fathom my Packers effectively killing the frozen tundra for this reason. While I share your dismay that a team is so easily leaving their historic home, tradition be damned. I guess I've come to realize that we all live in a time where all decisions are made to honor the greatest tradition of all, making money. Although it's been said many times, many ways, Merry Christmas to you, but I suppose the same can be said for the answer to all of your questions is money. From Howard Turoff in New Orleans, Louisiana. I don't know if this personal remembrance will be pod-worthy, but I thought to share it with you anyway. From 1975 through 1989, my best friend and I attended at least one game of every World Series. We were in our early 20s, and a World Series road trip was our annual fall adventure. We'd go to cities, often without tickets or a place to stay, and figure it out when we get there. For the I-70 World Series between the Royals and Cardinals in 1985, we were lucky. In the pre-internet days, we had mailed away for tickets and miraculously got them. Not only that, we were invited to stay with the parents of a girl who I knew was from Kansas City. When we arrived, the parents, whom I'd never met before, informed us they were Kansas City Chiefs ticket holders. They had a skybox, and they could bring us to the Rams-Chiefs game that Sunday at 1. I wasn't making much money back then and had never been in a luxury box before, so this was a real treat. Then following the game, we were invited down to the season ticket holder lounge to eat and drink like kings while watching the late games on TV, and then we walked across the path to the Royal Stadium for Game 2 of the World Series. This was by far one of the greatest weekends in sports experience I'd ever enjoyed. I've never been back, but I'm nonetheless saddened to learn that the Chiefs are moving out of Arrowhead. What a loss for the fans of the Chiefs and the Royals.
Really is.
Brandon Borzelli, Lebanon, New Jersey. Maybe Chiefs fans can access the new stadium across state lines via the Purple Line. It should be completed by 2031. It's funny. Perfect. Brandon's always funny.
Yes.
From Catherine O'Neill in St. John's, Newfoundland in Canada. I, too, am a loyal Little here in St. John's, Newfoundland. I've been living here for 18 years, and I think the population of Littles here seems to have exploded lately. I can't make it to the farmers market on December 27th, but please tell Newfoundlander Dave Javanin that if he sees me around town in a Binghamton University sweatshirt, it's me, and he should give the salute and introduce himself. I bought the sweatshirt a few years ago at a local thrift store based solely on your affiliation with the place. I wear it proudly. Isn't that nice?
That is great.
Thank you, Catherine. From Ben Sandler, DDS, dentist, doctor of dental surgery. I received a text from my very long-time dental supply rep and friend saying, when you go to Pinehurst, I would recommend the Ironwood Cafe. I immediately replied, thanks. A few minutes later, I realized I hadn't seen him since I planned that trip. Then I remembered my email to you asking about the Pinehurst restaurants. I replied to Bob, Tony, connective tissue. Please tell Bob Ross of Atlanta Dental Supply to eat it. Isn't that nice?
That is.
From Adam Blaney in Athens, Ohio. Before I was the official organic vegetable farmer of the show, I spent my professional and academic life in church ministry and in biblical studies and history of Christianity. Recently, a friend sent me some Instagram content in which he thought I would take an interest. I was listening to the person speak, and I happened to look down and see his name, Tim Wildsmith. I thought, of mailbag jingle fame? Surely not, but sure enough, it was him. Connective Tissue and Worlds Collide. Turns out Tim is not just a writer of songs for a stupid podcast, but an actual author of real books and does great work with his online content. It was great to connect, find another little in the real world. Happy holidays from the other side of the street, and best to you and all of yours.
Oh, that's great.
Keith McConnell. Finally, my David Aldridge moment, albeit regarding a place and not a person, Griffith, Indiana, my hometown, although I appreciate the lengths that ice cream thief Christopher Stewart went to get Griffith some publicity. This time of year, we're already flush. Listen for our mention in the early scenes of The Christmas Story in which some clodhopper swallowing a yo-yo earns Griffith some real prestige. And once the Bears finish their stadium in Griffith, there's no looking back. Carl in Oswego, Chuck and Roxy, 397. That's 3 less than Chuck Todd.
Yes.
I've made up a new game where I try to guess who will show up in the pictures that Reginald shows Nigel during his weekly NFL Picks segment. I'm happy to report that at least 4 times this year I've successfully guessed one of the people in the pictures. I wonder if any other Littles can top that. Now that I say this out loud, I'm realizing I need to take a break and reevaluate some of my life choices.
I want to know more
Anyway,
about the missus.
holiday. Happy holiday to you and everyone on the staff. Brian Nemo, Ann Arbor, Michigan, from the Tuesday Show. Nigel tried to get Chuck Todd to pick the Game Above Sports Bowl. Right, is that what it's called? I thought to myself, hey, I know that bowl game. I'm going to be at that bowl game on Friday. I figured I could be the official Game Above Sports Bowl correspondent of the TK show, or at least send you a big box of Game Above. Then I realized there is no show on Friday, and there appears to be no actual entity called Game Above. They sell no products, have no employees, have no Wikipedia page. Maybe the whole thing is a scam, and all 2,000 fans will be actually subjected to an hours-long sales pitch for the Revolution Toaster. After all, our tickets were free. It's brilliant. From Chip Robinson in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina, dear Dr. Tony, I've been thinking about buying a new phone. I'm not sure which to buy. Do you like yours? Love it. Love it. It's going to love it more when I slam it into the ground. Justin Johnson, Arlington, Virginia. I would welcome a phone update that stopped me from emails. How do I find that update? Aaron Alexander, from Tulsa, Oklahoma, as a former TV news producer. I enjoy hearing about outlandish news stories. Most of the time I hear them on your show, Research Monkeys That Escaped. I'm sure if there are any still on the loose, they're hiding with Reginald. Indiana man stole $6,200 worth of ice cream. The allure of Haagen-Dazs coffee ice cream will make folks do some crazy things. And, of course, who can forget the great D.C. wine heist suspect from last month. But I think I found the best obscure news story yet. After severe flooding in Washington state, King County officials are warning residents that floodwaters could sweep rats into the sewer system and up into their toilets. It turns out that folks in that part of the country have engineered a toilet and sewer system that can handle most rodents, because here are the steps they say you should take if you do, in fact, find a rat in your toilet. First, remain calm. Second, keep the lid down so the rat can't jump out. Third, squirt some liquid dish soap into the toilet. The soap degreases the oils in the rat's fur so it can't float in the water. Fourth, flush the toilet. Apparently toilets in Washington state are designed to accommodate flushing the mouse, or in this case the rat. Officials say the rat will usually go down the same way it came up, but it could take multiple flushes. Fifth, if that doesn't work, you can call pest control, or in your case, Michael. Thanks for all the laughs throughout the years, along with the expert sports analysis and insights. Isn't that nice?
Get the tongues out.
From Larry Sanders. Larry Sanders?
Can't be
Larry Sanders.
Can't be the same.
Listening to the various matchbook emails on the podcast pushed me to send this picture. My dad had a wonderful sense of humor and had a set of matchbooks printed up that had read, "Stolen from Harris Sanders," picture included, and he'd hand them out at parties to friends and clients. He passed away 7 years ago. I was lucky enough to have found one. framed it, hangs in our home, and I quietly laugh each time I pass by. Isn't that very nice?
That is.
David Andrews from Adelaide, Australia. In the I Hate This Phone episode, you asked why people in Australia would listen to your podcast. Well, I'm here to tell you I have absolutely no idea. You're welcome.
Thanks for clearing that up.
Yeah. Josh Peterson in Houston, Texas. So the new game is kids' birthdays. My oldest and non-masculine child, Maggie, was born on July 8th, 2009, 07, 08, 09. Easy to remember even for you, Grandpa.
That's a good
Thanks
one.
for the
7, 8,
entertainment
9.
and connective tissue.
Yeah, that's really
Greg
nice.
from Olney, Canada. I didn't know there was an Olney, Canada.
Well, I think read the email.
Oh, if I say I email from Canada, will I get my email read? That's it. That's the email. Oh, so it's probably only Maryland. Okay, and Mark Lynch, our friend in Canby, Indiana. On Tuesday's show, you read an email from Mark in North Bethesda. First of all, great name. Second of all, there's a North Bethesda? Is there a North Bethesda Bagels? If there is, I assume they are superior. Yeah.
It's Rockville.
Yeah, it's Rockville.
It's Rockville.
Yeah. If you're out on your bike tonight, everyone, as always, do wear white. Have a wonderful holiday.
Happy Christmas! Happy Christmas! Happy Christmas!
With them mustache, a taco live from
Tequila.
11 years old, big sporting goods.
Yeah, we played our hearts out and had a lot of things against us this week, and we still were that close. So I'm just proud of the way we finished that match, and I'm super proud of our seniors.
When they came out in their block was pretty effective, serving tough. What did it take to adjust to what they were doing?
You know, I thought we needed to be a little more patient on our attack, and then that started to work. And luckily, I thought our passing totally snapped out of it, which was good. And so that didn't really affect the outcome of the game. But they're a great serving team, and when you have a great server that can go on a run, that can be a difference maker. But, you know, those middles they're physical, and they read really well. And I just thought they did a great job.
Actively, you sent out there and you played Maya. What was the thought process behind that?
I don't know. I know we all were watching the game, so I think Andy was hitting like 100, and nothing was going right for her. So I thought, okay, let's give Manaya a try, and she made a few plays, and so we left her in there.
When you get up to that hot start and Texas has that 10-0 rally, it seems like they took a quick punch and rallied from that. How helpful was that for them, do you think?
I mean, I think it started with our serving and passing, and I don't want to like mispronounce her name, but number one, their middle, like she's a great serve, and she caught us on that for that run. So, I mean, I think we worked all season on being first to 5, first to 10, first to 15, and so on, and we weren't able to do that with her serve. And I mean, credit to her, she's a great serve. So, I mean, yeah, like we really take pride in serve and pass, but I think it caught us up a few times. So.
What did A&M do so well in the first 2 sets to kind of have you on your heels and have to play catch up?
I mean, honestly, I just feel like they move the ball really well. Again, they have a pretty well balanced offense. They can fire on all cylinders, and they did that. And I think as a middle, like it makes it harder to close. But I feel like, you know, if we were one step off, they found that space and they just crushed it. So, yeah, they were relentless in what they saw.
What was the end of the fourth set like? 10 set points, they had 3 match points. How were you able to pull it out?
Oh, God. I mean, in moments like that, I feel like most of us probably aren't even thinking. Like, we're just going back to the basics, and we're all hyper-competitive, and I've never actually been in a situation like that with going that far. So, I mean, it's hard, but at the end of the day, like, whoever was going to win that set had more will. And obviously they took it in the 5th, but I think that set showed that we weren't going to just let them take it from us on our home court and in our gym. And it obviously didn't turn out the way we wanted, but I think we showed a lot of fight, and that's something to be proud of.
Danny, what happened to Allie?
She stepped on a ball, and that has a huge effect on our team. You know, those of you that have been with us the whole year, we've been great at using our depth and use it strategically, and we did not have that today. And so, and to have that happen literally with the last 5 minutes of warm-ups, pretty tough.
Rebecca, what emotion are you feeling now? What are you going through?
To be honest, I just want to be with my parents. I just want to say Becca has put her heart and soul into this program, and you can tell by her face how much she cares. And I think, I don't even care if we win or we lose, because what I tried to tell Becca in the locker room is that she's going to take away the memories and the relationships that we've made. And winning and losing, yeah, it's a part of volleyball and it sucks, but she put her heart and soul into this program for 4 years, and she's leaving behind a great legacy and has so much to be proud of. We all see how much she cares, and I mean, it's unbelievable. So,
Danny, obviously the emotions are still fresh, but when you think you look back over the season, what is going to stand out for you?
I just think how this team really trusted each other and trusted the staff, and I know it wasn't a completely new team, but I was new, and I felt like everybody just super open-minded, and we went through this year and we played with a ton of joy, had a lot of fun. We went super hard, and I think we maxed out. Like what we had today, we maxed out, and that's always the goal at the end of the year, that you look back and that's why as the coach I don't feel like upset. I know we didn't make the Final Four, we're not winning a national championship, but we maxed out today, and when we can walk away from the last game of the season and feel like we gave it our all and look back and have no regrets, that's what I'm really proud of, and I hope these players don't have any regrets either.
Piper Birkin hasn't been feeling well this week. How have you guys kind of rallied around her, especially in this match when things weren't going well?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, she's not feeling her best whatsoever, and it's hard to go into the locker room and see her feeling that way, because I mean, she's such a big part of our team, and I don't know how she did it, but she found a way to still make good decisions and get balls up on defense and set us, and that's not easy. It's really not. And she's the best setter I've ever played with and will probably ever play with, and the fact that she could go out there feeling as sick as she does and still work her butt off and play like that it's truly amazing. And I mean, I love her to death, and yeah.
You were nodding along for Danny's last answers. What do you want this team to do?
Gosh, I said this in the locker room, but my freshman year, we all saw how that went and what happened a year later, and we heard so many people in the locker room just now saying I'm sorry, it's my fault, and not even the fans and the coaches and us. It's about how hard we worked and what we did this year. And my freshman year, I think we all lost sight of what we were able to do. We set an attendance record. We won the Big Ten. We made it to the national championship with 4 freshmen on the court, and that's not easy. And I think my biggest message for this team is just to stick to the people that we trust and our support system, because we have so much to be proud of, and it's so easy to forget that in moments like this. And I know my freshman year I definitely did, and I tried to blame myself. So it's just to the fans, to everyone who supports us, we wouldn't be able to do all the things that we do without them. And it sucks right now, but we have to walk away with our heads high, because we do so many amazing things every year, and it might not work out the way you want to, but there's so much to be proud of. I don't know if I've ever heard Bob that loud. I know on T's play last week, I think it was against K-State, it was super loud, but I mean, today it was so loud. And I've always said this, it's hard to beat us in our own gym, and they found a way to do that, but I don't think we could get a lot of momentum going, and that really hurt us in the end. But I mean, we're always grateful to be here. We're always grateful that we get to host, that we get to play in Bob throughout the season, and we're excited to be back next year.
Rebecca, do you have a message for the returning players next year as they try to go through this again?
Man, I guess to the returners, my biggest thing is lead by example. I think the biggest thing is I've always respected, and Lexi Rodriguez to me was that person. I just felt like she maybe didn't always have something to say, but she always made the play, or maybe even it was the random handhold or the hug. and that would probably be it for the rest of the day. But it was very intentional. I think just a lot of them never feel like you have to bear it all. It's not all on you, and just go do your thing. You don't gotta make it a big show. Just go be yourself.
Rebecca Manai had to come off the bench in a really high-pressure moment. What does it say about her and the way that she handled that?
She's mature. I think she's very mature for her age and as a competitor. And she listens well. We told her just to hit everything, and she did that. Mm-hmm. And so, I think it's a testament to her maturity.
Danny, with A&M's physicality, blocking, and tooling, what needed to happen a little better so that can impact the match at times like it did?
With just Andy?
Physicality, blocking, and tooling, what needed to do a little better to
specifically for Andy? Or A&M? Oh, A&M. I just thought, you can't really try to bounce on them because they're so physical. Even if they make a late move, they'll get us. And I thought we kind of started out the match trying to do that and out-physical them. And again, that's not going to happen. So I thought as the game went on, we adjusted well and started swinging high. And, I think we got a little bit one-dimensional, but I think that was a little bit maybe passing. I thought our passing was okay, but a lot of Bergen and, kind of that got us out of our comfort zone.
Hey, what was the end of the fourth set like for you as a coach when you're out of timeouts, out of subs, out of challenges?
Honestly, I had a lot of confidence. I did have a lot of confidence that we were going to win that. And, we train all the time, everybody to do everything. So, I had a lot of trust. Virginia could go back there and hit a serve. And it's Trey in the front row. And, it wasn't like a panic moment when we ran out of subs. This crew is good enough to win this set. And I kept telling myself that. And it was pretty great to see us, make it through 2 times through with no subs. And I thought they were just really confident, even though they hadn't done that all year.
Time for a couple more.
Danny, going into the fifth after that 37-35, and knowing that was do or die for you, but not for them, did you get a gauge or just where your team was at emotionally to start the fifth and maybe how drained you could have been from that?
I felt like we were pretty ready. It's tough. You look at our setter and it's are you going to make it? And she's looking at you I don't know. But other than that, I felt like everybody else was in there, willing us to win. And okay, we're going to make this as easy as we can for Bergen. And we have no other option at that point. So I don't know. I felt pretty good going into the fifth. And when you come back like that and fight that hard to win a fourth, you do have a lot of momentum. It's just A&M, they weren't rattled by that, obviously, and they started out strong in the fifth. And you give up a couple points against a great team. It's really, really hard to come back. And we did come back from a 5-point deficit to tie it. So I felt like we were pretty ready to go in the fifth.
All right. Thank you all.
Thanks.
Edwards Ram and Jeep brings the Wrap Up the Year sales event to Village Point.
Or dream a reality.
Times is our big game chain player of the game.
Sasha Durkin here with Husker volleyball coach Danny Busboom Kelly. Ahead of the poll.
This one, just judging by sort of what people said and what was happening on the internet, this one felt different. I think maybe because of how the season went.
Excuse me, you mean being so dominant?
Yeah, it I know it's never impossible to lose, right? But it felt at least making the Final Four felt as inevitable as anything in sports going into it. And so I think that's where people are really struggling today and kind of last night is just this didn't even come across, I think, most people's radars as a possibility that something bad would happen before the Final Four.
Yeah, so this was my buddy. This was Aaron Saturday at 11:06. And he goes, I hope to be minus $100 tomorrow afternoon. I think A&M is pretty good. Got a really good medal. And I said, yeah, I don't know. Should be interesting. I don't know if they have enough offensive versatility, but they're more than formidable.
Yeah.
What's the line? He says plus 1,400.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
Dinner on Aaron. Dinner on Aaron.
Yeah, that's...
But a lot of people didn't really like the vibe heading into this game.
Well, you find out later that it seems like flu's running through the team, which that can change the vibe for sure, as you know.
My heart broke.
And the weird injury, like 3 minutes before the match started.
Like crying? Like DBK said it threw them off.
Yeah, it was super random. I mean, just stepped on a volleyball?
Yeah.
Like, that's super weird. And, like, random and kind of just like, what is happening right now?
Yeah, it's such a fine line between, because you're built to just deal with it. Especially this team, I'm sure there were some similarities in mindset.
Mm-hmm.
But going into our Texas game at Big 12 Championship, but you don't want to make excuses.
Yeah.
Like, we just didn't talk about it, right? I mean, playing little guys at line, like we were, decimated.
Yeah.
But we don't talk about it.
Yeah. Even though, like,
like Texas made it for fan base, media and fan base might, but we don't, like, as a team, really talk about it.
Which I get, and I do, and especially in the moment, you can't.
My heart sank when I started reading, especially like there was kind of some struggles with some early reports on social media, and it was kind of going back and forth, and then that got my attention, and I was like, wonder what's going on. And with the whole flu thing, doctors being in the locker room, I was like, oh, I get it.
Yeah.
I mean, even, because we went through it.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, no, we'll still be fine. Oh, no, we'll still
Well, you have to tell yourself that, right?
Yeah, we'll still be fine.
So, like, that, because that's, to me, I understand in the moment and as a team and in that locker room, you have to tell yourself that. There's no other option, right? Because you cannot change the fact that people are getting sick around you or you're getting sick yourself, right? But, like, it does, like, it obviously makes a difference. Like, physically, it makes a difference.
Well,
shoot, I come in here sometimes and I don't feel good, and it makes a difference, and I'm not doing anything physical, right? I'm just talking, and you can tell. And I'm trying, like, it's not like I'm throwing in the towel and just be like, I'm just here to be here. Like, I'm trying.
Bergen Riley looked like the pasty gangster.
Yeah.
But she balled, though, so I give it to her.
But, so, there were no options because backup setter's out, right? Allie's out all of a sudden with no warning whatsoever to kind of prepare for that. Andy Jackson's struggling. So things...
I got my ominous text.
Which one was that?
I was like, well, DBK... What I said?
Oh, yeah, about Andy.
I said, well, Perp not putting AJ back in the game come back to haunt her?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's one of those things... We've sort of talked about this with DBK all year, though. Like, with her lineup and the way she does things.
She's going to do it again.
Yeah, she's just going to do it. And all year, it's like, it can't be the right thing all year. And then all of a sudden, we second guess when we don't like the result.
Yeah, she got the quick hook early.
Right?
Yeah. When you talk about being late to the party a few too many times, especially with A&M's medals.
But, like, if you're sitting there and you go, okay, this is how, like, we built this team to have depth and to have options, so that if somebody wasn't playing well, then we didn't have to stick with that and just hope it turned around. Then, like, that's literally what they've been doing all year. So I don't know how you can go back now and say, hey, probably should have gone back to Andy. Maybe, obviously she's one of the best players on her team, right? But, like, this is the reason you played this season the way you did, is so you gave yourself options. We talk about the football team all the time. Coach yourself into options. She did. She coached herself into options. It didn't work out this time. But they also came back from 2 sets down and almost won that thing. So
how about A&M swag?
Yeah.
That was a resilient.
Yeah, like after you lose 2, so I think
what how I felt like it was Nebraska's nerves though late?
Yeah.
The service errors.
Yeah. A&M had a couple, but Nebraska was struggling. There was a couple things that
couple on match point. It's like,
yeah, that can't happen. I get it happens, but that's rough. Yeah. There were a couple things I was impressed with.
And emotionally, they recovered from. from doing it too.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh.
To save their own match points.
Yeah.
Like that was pretty impressive. But there were a couple things I was impressed with A&M about. First, it seems like Nebraska, this is a weird analogy. There was the movie Miracle in 1980, like it seems like when teams, like it seems like when A&M didn't crumble after Nebraska got on top of them early in the first set, that sort of like gave them some of that confidence to be like, oh, we can survive the flurries.
Yeah, they were in it from the jump emotionally. Like
Yeah.
I don't think they ever.
But I think Nebraska, to a certain extent, is used to when they kind of jump on a team and they get out to like a 5-7 point lead.
They will.
Lots of teams wilt against that, right? Because they're like, oh, God, here it comes, right? A&M didn't, to their credit. It kind of happened again in the second set. A&M didn't wilt again, to their credit. And then when Nebraska came back and won 2 sets, A&M still didn't wilt. Like, I think there is a certain part of Nebraska that was used to teams sort of folding to their relentlessness, and A&M just didn't do it. Right, and that's credit to them, but it also, and this is very layman's, like it seemed like Nebraska struggled with A&M serve.
Yeah, the pass. It's just, people talk a lot about the gaudy, sexy statistics, but at the end of the day, man, you have got to be able to pass.
Yeah,
I think most of all, you have got to be able to pass, and it just was a struggle, and it got them. A&M was explosive. What a weird Final Four.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie, though. I like Texas's court with that white trim.
Yeah, it's sharp looking.
That joke was pretty sweet.
Yeah, it's pretty sharp looking.
But I was like, oh. But it was weird. I didn't know who to cheer for.
Yeah. With the people who are like, oh, Wisconsin might upset Texas. I was like, I don't want to root for Wisconsin.
It's tough.
I was like, you think
Some
like
of those facial expressions? Well, he is a menace.
Rico texted me because I don't know if he didn't think I was paying attention or what, which is a fair assumption once Nebraska volleyball was over. He's like, hey, just so you know, like, Wisconsin's up 2-0 on Texas right now. And I was like, is that a good thing? I was like, this feels like a big meteor game.
Yeah.
You're like, I hope a big meteor hits the stadium. I don't want either team to win this thing.
This is only 1-1, right? A 1, a 2, and 2 threes?
I believe that's right, yeah.
Wild.
I believe that's correct.
Wild. Anything can happen, boy.
Man, I am curious how Nebraska fans are like processing.
Are they? Who's going to KC?
I mean, nobody now. I can't imagine.
Do you still roll?
I wouldn't, but I'm petty. Like, I would not want to be there, personally.
I mean, because they would have been there in droves.
Oh, they would have taken over.
Droves.
I mean, whatever the Cincinnati game looked like, multiply that times however many, especially over the course of a weekend. And that's Kansas City next weekend. Kansas City just lost an enormous amount of money. Like,
gotta be.
Low-key, like, they just lost an enormous amount of money. Like, the canceled hotel rooms this morning are going to be off the charts.
Edwards Ram and Jeep brings the Wrap Up the Year sales event to...
Like that has happened, and it's set a great team just a little bit off. I was thinking of the '83 Nebraska team, right, in the Orange Bowl, and I don't think they had the flu or anything, but prepared for the game, and they also had home field advantage, right, and they also had great players, and so it takes a confluence of events for a great team to lose. And when I thought about it, I thought of the '83 Nebraska team. I'm like, that's probably the comp here, except that Nebraska was at home, but they also, they had the flu. So tough day there. And then, Nebraska basketball. Nebraska's a basketball school, and they're going to spend the next 2 weeks both ranked in the top 25 because they're not losing. Nebraska women are not losing to Cal Baptist. Although that'll be a homecoming for a local player. And then Nebraska men's basketball is not losing to North Dakota or New Hampshire. And they're not going to drop out of the rankings if they lost to Michigan State. So I'm thinking Nebraska basketball will be top 15 today. That'd be my hunch, but maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, let me go back to volleyball because you mentioned, the flu, and I was following along on social media after our banquet about the locker room and what was going on. At what point did you know realize, oh shoot, like this may be a thing when doctors are actually in the locker room?
Yeah, I didn't find that out till later the evening. I don't know that was communicated. I don't think it was communicated, but to the media that was outside there. So yeah, that's it. I know that they said that Bergen Riley wasn't feeling well, but I think it was a larger group of players than that. And again, it's just super unfortunate that happens at that time. And then you have a player who steps on a ball.
A couple of people saw that real time, right, with the Russian players going over to her. Yeah,
a couple of the reporters saw it right as it happened, and a couple tweeted it out before the game. So you had what amounted to one of their top subs step on a ball, alley check. And so one of the things that the team had been built on, and this is a good thing, is they had been built on depth all season long. So if something didn't work, DBK was going to put another player in, and that was a player they didn't have. And then they weren't able to take anything off of Campbell Flynn or Bergen Riley because Campbell Flynn broke her finger. So they weren't able to, even give Riley a break against Kansas, right? So like, let's say for argument's sake, she didn't have to play every set that night, or she didn't have to play any of the sets that night, that Campbell Flynn could have led them to victory. That might have given her a little bit more time to reserve her energy for what was clearly a better opponent. And she didn't have it. So, now all that said, it was a 5-set match. It was an extraordinary match. Nebraska played extraordinarily well, and had they had a chance in the 5th set. And actually, again, I thought the 3rd set would determine the match. I figured Nebraska would win that. Well, I didn't know if they'd win it, but if they did win it, I thought they'd kind of do a reverse sweep, because it is so statistically hard to beat Nebraska at Devaney. Before yesterday's loss, Nebraska had won 96.8% of its NCAA tournament matches at Devaney. After the loss, they've won 94.1%. And I had mentioned Rafael Nadal on Twitter. Rafael Nadal has won 96.5% of his matches at Roland Garros, and he's retired, so he'll just go down with 96.5%. I didn't pull it out of nowhere. Like, I knew that was how close the numbers were. And so I would try to put it in that context, that like what happened was, imagine Rafael Nadal, tweaking an ankle and still going 5 sets. That's like how hard Nebraska is to beat in that venue. So there's something that incredible came out of yesterday, even though they lost. Like the fact that it was that hard to beat Nebraska, that they gave that much in what I think most people would say is one of the greatest sets of an NCAA tournament match ever. That they were able to give that much and play that hard is really a testament to the team, which is why I think, Husky Kelly said they maxed out. So it is a heartbreaking end of the season. I'm sure it'll provide a lot of fuel for next year. I'm sure that they haven't maybe even processed, that it happened. But they went 5 sets earlier in the year with Kentucky, and I suspect that, in the Final Four, Kentucky's going to be there, and I'm sure that would have been a great game. Then I think Nebraska would have won, but I think Nebraska and Kentucky, would have squared off again, and it would have been a real battle. So it's unfortunate for Nebraska, but they have a lot to be proud of this season, and they'll have multiple All-Americans this year, maybe 4, which is pretty amazing.
Sam, how do you kind of, hold both things in your head of how amazing the season was and everything they accomplished versus how it ended and the disappointment on that end? Because I think that's what a lot of people are kind of struggling with right now, because what we saw on Sunday didn't look very much like what we saw for almost all of the season.
Yeah, I think the first thing you have to do is give Texas A&M a lot of credit.
Yeah, obviously, their emotions, man, they were tough mentally.
They were, and you heard how much respect, you heard how much respect the Nebraska players had for the coach. Because I guess they coached them at USA Volleyball in one of those teams, and so they knew that he was good. You heard the respect that they had before the match for Texas A&M. Danny Buston-Kelly said this is going to be a really hard opponent. So I think she kind of knew that ahead of time. I don't know that any of us probably registered it that way. Probably a lot of people probably didn't register how good 83 Miami was. That's again the comp that I come up with is most people would say that if Nebraska won that game years ago, it'd be the greatest college football team of all time. I don't know that it would have been, but I think a lot of people would continue to say that today. But those confluence of events happen. So I don't think it necessarily diminishes Nebraska's greatness, but they do fall short, and I think there was so much shock yesterday that maybe the understanding of how sick the team was and people not wanting to make excuses, I understand how it maybe came off as, well, this was like you said, this wasn't the team that we had seen. Was it an issue of pressure? I really don't think it was. I don't think it was that. I think it was just Texas A&M played really well. The team was a little under the weather. A reserve stepped on a ball before the game, which I don't think I've ever heard of. So obviously that was a fluke deal. And there you have it. It ends fast. So what I think is that the team's gonna rebound, and they're gonna be really good again next year, and maybe just as good as they were this year. You're gonna lose Rebecca Alec, and that's really hard.
Yeah, watching her yesterday was tough because I'm a huge fan. Just personally, you know what I mean?
A lot of people are. When somebody cares that much, loves.
She has such a
sport,
unique personality. She's a cool student athlete.
Yeah, she is. She cares a lot, and it was obvious. And thought Harper Murray did a really good job of working with Alec in the press conference. I'm not surprised that Harper Murray was good in that setting. She's experienced some things that people know, but she's a really sharp and fundamentally mature person. And so, Harper Murray did a really good job of explaining things in that moment, I think. What you saw in that post-game press conference is, Murray's going to be captain next year. She's going to be the person who leads the team and is the person who galvanizes and brings that team together. I remember many years ago, I think John Cook said one of his favorite teams was, obviously all the teams that won the national championship, but it was the 08 team. And they did not win the national title. They lost in 5 sets to Penn State at what's now called
and
the
Penn State was a wagon that year.
Yeah, undefeated, right?
They were. Yeah, they were the greatest, maybe the greatest team of all time. They had not, I don't know that they had lost a set all year until they played Nebraska. And there's this famous moment where they're going into the 5th set and they play the Rocky music over the whatever. And I remember it was, I was at he did some speaking engagement in downtown Omaha, and he was telling the story of it. Damon, I think you might have been there. Just a long time ago.
Oh,
but
yeah, you know what? I was.
Osborne was there.
Yeah, I was. I remember that.
So I was at that thing, and he told the story of how the following morning they got up to go to breakfast, and they had not taken their jerseys off. And they all kind of went down, and that was Jordan Larson's senior year. And I can't remember the player who was sort of Amanda Gates' senior year, and so that was sometimes the teams that really galvanize you, or the ones that he remembered are moments like that, and I think what you're going to see is that this team had a lot of really good memories, just like the team 2 years ago, although they didn't like how it ended with Texas. They had those incredible memories all year, and I think this team's going to feel the same way, and they'll come to understand that what happened was really tough, but something that they can look back on and appreciate how hard they fought. And next year, I think they'll be back, and they're going to be a perennial contender to win the national title. And how many years?
They were better. They were better than this team relative to the sport, but it gives me Texas vibes. I know you fast forwarded to Nebraska '83 because of how good that team was on the national scale. So I get that, but the Texas thing, because I still remember, sitting on that stupid slanted thing for the buses where the players pulled up in because we went in under the stadium. And those, dumb cellophane sandwiches waiting for us on the seat. It was a miserable feeling, right? But that 97 team, just remember, they didn't like feeling like that. You know what I mean? And it was just like, it was just, because you don't want to make excuses. Because Texas made some huge plays. Like, their inside trap game and some of the stuff they did with those two back looks and the fork, like, that was good stuff, right? Even though I know we weren't we were super short-handed, but Texas was.
Well, Minter was hurt, right? Minter was he was
playing some outside linebacker. Everybody was hurt. He was playing linebacker. He was playing.
Farley was out.
Yeah,
right. Farley was out. Minter played, but somebody else.
We had two of our D linemen were sick. We were missing an inside. That was the running back by committee game. Nobody was healthy. It was anyway. We just weren't supposed to talk about that stuff, right? It was It's like, hey man, we put ourselves in this position, so nobody really said anything out loud about what we didn't have. I mean, all credit to Texas and their coming out party, but I just know that there's power in if you don't like the way you really feel, much like the 93 team going into 94 and Stewart going bananas after that Florida State loss. Like, it can happen. It can happen where you dial in. So I think anything's possible, even though they probably feel pretty low.
They probably do, which is totally understandable. I think you'll see them rebound. And again, how many years did Duke basketball go without winning a national title despite having great teams? And then when they won one, they won a bunch in a row. Or they won about 5 in 11 years. And that's just kind of how sometimes these things happen. And that's how that's how it's going to be. And it's unfortunate, but Nebraska volleyball will be back.
Edwards Ram & Jeep brings the Wrap Up the Year sales event to Village Point and Council Bluffs. Lease the 2025 Ram 1500 Bighorn 4x4 starting at $199.
This is our big game chain player of the game.
Sasha Durkin here with Husker volleyball coach Danny Busboom.
Moments like that. And I think what you're going to see is that this team had a lot of really good memories, just like the team 2 years ago, although they didn't like how it ended with Texas. They had those incredible memories all year, and I think this team's going to feel the same way, and they'll come to understand that what happened was really tough, but something that they can. And they're going to be a perennial contender to win the national title. And how many years?
They were better. They were better than this team relative to the sport, but it gives me Texas vibes. I know you fast forwarded to Nebraska '83 because of how good that team was on the national scale. So I get that, but the Texas thing, because I still remember, sitting on that stupid slanted thing for the buses where the players pulled up in because we went in under the stadium. And those, dumb cellophane sandwiches waiting for us on the seat. It was a miserable feeling, right? But that 97 team, just remember, they didn't like feeling like that. You know what I mean? And it was just like, it was just, because you don't want to make excuses. Because Texas made some huge plays. Like, their inside trap game and some of the stuff they did with those running back.
Middles blocking at a high rate, and the pins pitching in as well. So, I mean, 17-8 in stuff blocks. That right there, on top of, again, just all the tooling and everything that Texas A&M was able to do. That's the biggest thing. I think they just, for whatever reason, Nebraska just wasn't quite able to keep up with what Texas A&M was doing offensively.
Doesn't seem like Coach Busboom, I mean, she's human, but the way she talks, right, it's kind of the style is the style, and it is what it is in terms of the flexibility and the depth that she was able to coach through all season. Were you surprised at all with how the Andy Jackson situation was handled when she wasn't playing well early, how long she sat?
No, and I mean, the players said, like, Danny is herself. She's not afraid to act a certain way. She's going to be true to herself. And the players, we've talked about it all season, kind of the bench situation, the rotation. The players themselves said it's comforting to know that, like, hey, if I'm struggling, we got somebody off the bench that can come in and help the team and give me a chance to kind of catch my breath, figure it out, and hopefully get back out there if need be. And that's, I think the Jackson situation is really complicated. I mean, that's something that obviously a lot of people are harping on and talk like, hey, that cost them the match, and you don't sit down your best player, and yada, yada, yada. And I think it's really complicated. One, she's the one sitting there on the bench. She's seeing it up close. She's talking to Andy, kind of getting a feel for where her head's at. And she didn't just sit her down and forget about her. She benched her 3 times, sent her back in there twice, and the third time just decided to stick with Minaya. And Obeche is someone that has performed at a high level every time that she's gotten in the match. Obviously, has never played on